Hello and welcome to the Computer Game Show. My name's David Turner. I'm here with James Farley.
Hello, David.
Sean Bell.
Hello, David.
And the main one, Matt Murray.
Hello, David.
Did you say hello, David? Because that's what it sounded like in my thing. Is that just Discord playing up again?
Probably.
It's probably Discord, isn't it? We would like to start this show by thanking our Patreon producers this month. They are Aaron Patrick, Anthony Oakenson, Simon Nelson, Tom S., Jack Oven, Moomin Biscuit, and Richard Sawyer. Thank you so much for your support at the Full Nels tier. If you would like to support us on Patreon, please go to patreon.com/TCGS. There are various different tiers. You can get a bonus show every month. You can watch our talks over live, all that sort of stuff. So get on down there, check out a tier that's good for you, and bloody pay up. Right, this week's show is a bit of a different one, isn't it, chaps? We've had to tinker with a few things. We've had to drop a few things. I'll give you a heads up now. If you wanted to hear what Sean had to say about a indie game you've never heard of, you ain't going to be getting that this week. You're not going to get Matt telling you about what he's been doing in Animal Crossing. You know, none of that this week. We're not doing what you've been playing.
We could squeeze it in.
Let's not. It's been a big week in the gaming world, and there is a lot to talk about. So this is basically going to be our PS5 reveal special. We're going to go through all that stuff. We've got various other news stories to go through. Sean has demanded that he was given his own section of the show to go through the stuff that he's interested in.
About fucking time, mate.
We'll spoiler bot that, tell you how long to fast forward, and then we'll get into your emails. But first of all, one thing we do like to do on the show is when another podcast talks about us, listen to what they got to say, and sort of just give a little comment back. And this one is from this week's episode of Kane and Rince Sound of Play. And well, I'll just play it, shall I?
In different areas as well. Yeah, I think I've heard most about Black Future 88 from one of the cretins on our Idiot Rival podcast, the Computer Game Show. I think.
I'm gonna pause there. He's literally calling you a cretin there, Sean.
Yep. Yes, he is.
It's a bit much, isn't it?
Directed straight at you. Okay.
Bell played some of that, but you know.
Yes, I do remember there was some shenanigans involving this game too. When those oafs started to list their game of the year.
Oh, that's right. I think it was a late entry, I think it was.
Listen to them trying to pretend that they don't know exactly what went down. Let's face it. Listen, it was one of our biggest shows we've ever done. They knew exactly what went down. Oh, I think, yes, it might have to do with their game of the year show.
Well,
come on.
I'll be honest, I'd completely forgotten about this. I'd completely forgotten about Black Future 88 and that there'd been a thing with that. That was ages ago.
I don't remember
it's a very good game.
Accusing Matt Murray of doing it.
It was ages ago, wasn't it?
How could you forget that, James?
I mean, what's really interesting to me is that Leon apparently doesn't know what's going on in his own show, because I've been on Sound of Play and played a track from Black Future 88 and
Very
talked
sad
about
to
it.
see.
So that's weird. Also, Leon, I sent you an email this week about, maybe doing this Computer Game Show versus Ken and Rince charity stream, and you're supposed to be getting your stable together and coming back to me, and I've not heard anything yet. So
they're shitting it.
They are.
They're
absolutely bricking it. So I'm just saying, everyone knows that now. So ball's in your court, mate.
Fucking hell. All right, well, let's finish I think there was a little bit more.
And they had a bit of a voting scan. I don't care. Why are we even giving this airtime? Let's move on.
Because people might listen. That's why you're giving it airtime.
This show. Hello, fellows.
Shut up, Leon, you prick. Listen, right? Listen to that. Listen to this, right? You've subscribed to the right podcast. Don't worry about it. We'll play the important bits when they're talking about us on here, so you don't have to go and subscribe to them. Keep it TCGS. I mean, oaths. I've never heard noses being pointed that high before in my life. It's unbelievable. You've picked the right team, listener. You've picked the right team, and if that hasn't convinced you, then I don't know what will. Sean, any other rebuttal there? I mean, it was directed at you.
I've said my piece. I think if we get this stream together, we'll just beat the shit out of them, and then that'll be that, really, won't it? I mean,
yes, Sean, yes, I fucking love it. We're not going to get the stream together.
And it's charity, so it's fine.
We have said publicly, right, that we will do this stream, TCGS versus Kane and Rince, right? And then you actively went out and contacted them, and they haven't got back to us, right? So, I mean, the result might as well already be chalked up. A 1-0 win to TCGS, I think. Let's face it. And thank God for that, because Matt's on our team. And I do worry with a competitive game.
It depends what games are chosen.
Right, okay. So, last time you were in a competition, you finished last in all the rounds and then last overall. That was at EGX.
I think there was extenuating circumstances there.
Then we played that golf game and you finished last on all of that. I'm just a little bit concerned.
The weird is, I haven't played that game before.
It's
a bad game, so that's.
I'll tell you what. Okay, well, let me ask you this. So this is going ahead, and you get to pick a game to play competitively against them. What do you choose?
I'll go Sega Rally.
Okay, Sega Rally. Yeah, I think that's probably the right choice.
It's been a while since I played it, but I think muscle memory will kick in.
Okay,
I mean, feel free to practice. I mean.
I'll have to buy a Saturn, Sean, but I mean, if that's happening...
No, Matt, go out and buy one of those, that doesn't sound very Matt Murray to me. You go out and buy one of those 4-player cabinet, buy a cabinet.
Right? Yeah, I mean, that has been a dream for so long, but don't have the room yet. If I won lottery, one of the first things I would buy would be a four-player Sega Rally cabinets, also 4 Daytona, and probably a massive KFC.
Right, so that's not all that's happened this week. We received an email that I think can be separated out from feedback and our email section at the end of the show, but it's quite unbelievable. It's from Jamie Doherty, is that right? Tom Doherty.
Doughty, isn't it?
Doughty.
Doughty, right, Doughty, sorry. Right, Tom Doughty. So me reading this is probably not the best idea we've ever had. But
do we have to read this?
Yes, we absolutely have to read this, because
why?
I mean, I can't even... Okay, look, cut it short. Someone's written some fanfic about James Farley.
I'm not listening to this again, because I've already read it and I don't listen to it.
Yeah, you've not heard Dave read it out. That's going to be a whole other interpretation. I can't wait.
I heard Chen read it out. That was worse.
Any accents I use in this is simply, if it goes wrong, I really apologise to everyone involved.
Dave,
to be fair, okay, I know, I don't want to spoil
this late on Tuesday, and there's a big old edit and a big old show to do there in the edit. But having said that, should I put some sexy music behind this?
Absolutely,
120%.
So be it.
I don't want anything to do with this. Go on.
Okay. The James Farley fanfic. It had been a long day. Tired from the busy day of delivering lectures, James was relieved to be returning home to put his feet up and relax. As he exited his Onda Jazz, he allowed himself a sigh of relief and a small chuckle, reflecting on how smooth the gearbox was. As the final light ebbed from the setting Canterbury sun, his amber surroundings turned into twilight, and with this, his heart suddenly sank. It was a Monday evening, and the podcast needed to be recorded. Bollocks, muttered James. 60 minutes in, the podcast was going well. Matt's feedback section was mercifully brief, and James had knocked it out the park with his news section. Right, we know this is fanfic, because that's never happened. Having been successfully able to read out the quote when he had asked his fellow podcasters, "Do you want me to read out the quote?" And he had finished with both some Anthem and Google Stadia news stories, which he knew always made for a good gag. He had even been able to talk about games he had been playing with some interest from the gang, and now he could relax. The hard part of the podcast was over, and it would likely be smooth sailing to the questions, and finally he would be able to go to bed. This is mental, by the way, but right, sorry. After talking for some time, James had worked up quite a thirst. The Canterbury summer evenings were notoriously hot and humid, which also didn't help matters. Unfortunately, he didn't have a Diet Coke to hand, so started to think about when he could slip out from the podcast and scuffle over to his garage. Luckily, Sean was droning on about some boring indie game, so James saw his chance and muted his mic. As James was approaching his garage, he heard a strange noise coming from it. That's odd, he thought out loud. My wife and children have already gone to bed.
Come on, look, I'm not stopping this, but I don't sound like that.
That was you, James, to be honest. I was was transported.
Sorry, I'll change it a bit. Sorry, James. That is out of order. He thought out loud. My wife and children have already gone to bed. Normally, James would think nothing of it, but his thirst for Diet Coke was so strong that he knew he had to continue onwards. Continuously, he tiptoed to the garage door and pushed the door slightly ajar. He swore he could hear a heavy-set man in a French accent whispering to himself about emotions, but he couldn't be sure. Holding his breath, James slowly reached into the garage and turned on the light switch. James was shocked. Lying somewhat seductively on James's multi-pack of Diet Coke.
Why are we reading this?
It was none other than the writer, director, and long-time rival David Cage. Hello there, James.
Where's he from?
David Cage, France.
I mean, the thing is...
Diet Coke. He was fondling a loose can of Diet Coke. Do you want a Diet Coke, James? You look thirsty. Giggled David Cage, locking eyes with James. James nervously gulped, replying, How did you get into my house? And how do you know who I am? Ooh la la, Monsieur James. I listened to your podcast, so learned... What was that, James? Sorry, what?
Just go on. Get on with it.
Ooh la la, Monsieur James. I listened to your podcast, so I learned that you lived in Canterbury. And was able to narrow down... It's spelled narrow down your house.
David, you sound like a representative of the Trade Federation. Go on.
I don't know what that means. You've been to find 4 whipped up Nintendo's receipts.
What accent is this?
I don't know, I've lost it.
I mean, to be fair, David Cage's actual accent sounds like a parody of a French accent, so this works.
No other same person would do this. So I knew it was you instantly. Cage retorted playfully. And my headphones have come off. My fucking headphones have come off. Hold on.
I can't believe we're like a huge week, such a huge week this week with huge PS5 news. We're gonna start with a 15-minute fanfic.
Shh. This was bad.
That's why we're the best.
James was incredibly thirsty, and seeing a bead of sweat trickle down David Cage's delicate yet surprisingly supple midriff, and then in brackets, sorry, I forgot to mention David Cage had taken his shirt off by now, only helped to make James feel even thirstier. Oh, Monsieur James, would you like a Diet Coke? James's heart was beating incredibly fast. Given into temptation, he silently nodded. David Cage giggled as he slowly slinked over to James, cracking open a fresh Diet Coke and offered it to him. James was sweating. He knew it was wrong. Jesus Christ, I was almost sick then. But it felt so right. As James let the liquid nectar pour down his throat, his thirst quenched. James, I have been... Right, I'm going to drop that. James.
What am I doing? What's in the end now?
I'll keep it going. James, I have been meaning to tell you something for a long time now, said Cage, putting his arms around James's back. After listening to your podcast for so long, I am in love with you. David, I can't. I've got a family. I've got a... Before James could finish his sentence, David Cage put his silky smooth finger on James's lips. Shh. Hush, Monsieur James, I know. Our lives are so far apart, and fate has chosen us. Different destinies. I know we cannot be together, James, but know this. When I make and release my next hit emotion-driven game, know that it was all for you, my dearest James, my love for you, and this vast and wonderful world that gives us life and keeps us smiling. Goodbye, my professor. And good luck. Before James knew it, Cage had fled into the night. He looked at over at the pile of multi-pack Diet Cokes, which now looked so empty. He silently walked back to his computer, his podcast, and indeed his life. Things would be different now. James knew. As Matt was reading out the millionth tweet asking what games TCGS would recommend for the Switch, a flash of inspiration came to James. What if the emotion-driven storytelling David Cage promised in his games wasn't the emotion he felt towards the characters, but instead the emotion he felt towards David Cage? James stared across at his computer desk. He needed another Diet Coke. The end. Tom, a round of applause for that. Well done, Tom.
Unbelievable.
I
mean, that is absolutely incredible. Thank you so much. James, comments?
I've got nothing to say. I've got genuinely nothing to say about that. I mean, right. Can we move on? Go on.
I just want you to know, James, I read that out in its entirety to my wife. She thought it was brilliant.
Sean, it's worse than that. My wife read that out in entirety to me, and it was horrible.
Matt, how easy would it be to put all that text on the front of a t-shirt and sell it on our store?
I could probably do it.
Well, you'd need to make contact to make sure that they're okay with us doing that. Yeah. Make sure Tom's okay with us doing that. But I mean,
well, he's been all right with besmirching my name, so I shouldn't think it'd be a problem.
Ooh, besmirched. Right, okay.
Oh la la, James.
After that heavy intro, let's get into the feedback from last week's show. Come on, Matt.
Yes, okay. We're going to start with Sean S. Thomas. Hi, tcgs.co.uk crew. No, it's not Sean. I've been a bit busy at work lately and haven't had as many opportunities to go for exercise during the day, meaning that I've now got a ridiculous backlog of podcasts to catch up on. So whilst cooking, I've been putting on the TCGS shows that I needed to catch up on. However, on Sunday, I had to admit defeat after several false starts. Why? Because of a certain Mr. Bell's excessive cussing. What do you mean, I hear you ask? Chef extraordinaire, indie darling, fatherly, Sean Bell, a man so lovely, he's probably already bought the latest Humble Bundle deal despite owning all the games already. Yes, that's right, that's Sean Bell. I got through the news, but had to pause a few times when the kids came in, and each time I paused, I thought, it's that Sean Bell again. His expletive-strewn rant at Destiny 2's event was a final straw, which saw me put on the kids' Disney playlist. So I did an experiment. On my evening walk, I tallied up the number of instances of swearing from the start of what I've been playing until the show closed. The results were delicious. James Farley, take a bow. Not one cuss. In fact, not much talking at all, come to think of it.
Yeah, that's not fair, is it? That's not fair. He's chosen the part of the show where James just checks out.
Yeah.
That's not fair.
That's not true. I'm listening attentively, but I don't want to ruin the flow of what's going on.
Yeah, but we should have looked at the ratio. Anyway, next, Matt Main1 Murray. That's what it says here. That's not my words. The words of the listener. You did well until the end, until you got a bit carried away and gave us 6 minor cusses, including a bollocks, 2 bloodies, and an instance of blasphemy in a final flurry. That's basically what I'm known for.
Counts, does it?
Yeah, nor does bloody, right? No. Bloody's not a swear word.
I mean, bollocks. I think that's fine for me, frankly. And David was terrible, you're thinking, right? Millwall fan, fucking this, fucking that. Well, you might be shocked to find that in over an hour, he only tallied up 15 cusses. Around half were shit, half were words beginning with F, though he gets to take a bow for the sole use of the C-bomb. Tus.
Well, I mean, you've named 2 halves and another one there, so I'm not completely convinced by your tallying up here. Math seems a bit off, but go on.
So that was David with 15, but Mr. Bell, what would your nan say? 42 cusses. Yes, 42. 3 times more than David. if I'd counted the 3 I suspect were you, but I couldn't 100% ratify, the spread of usage was largely all fucks. One enthusiastic bullshit, one use of the phrase shagging birds that, whilst it wasn't counted, should be noted on file. I would never want to temper Sean's ire, nor water down his enthusiasm to suit a 6-year-old listenership in my household, but I thought the wider TCGS family might like to be aware of these findings and monitor the situation. Whether this is an isolated incident, the beginning of a midlife crisis, pent-up aggression being unleashed in a safe space, or sheer exasperation at Bungie screwing up their big moment remains to be seen. But James, Matt and David, you have been warned. Sean Bell is seemingly no longer Mr. Nice Guy. Love you all. Goodbye.
Sean
So,
Bell.
Right, hang on.
One question.
Okay, go on.
One question.
Yeah.
You kiss your mother with that mouth?
I mean, not at the moment. No, not even allowed to see it. But
Cool.
Good. Keep it to the
so right.
I
So
like
those
it.
42. Is that not including the Bungie bit?
No, that is including
That
the
is
budget
it, right?
bit,
Okay,
but
sorry. 'Cause you said he
only-
counted from what you've been playing.
Yeah.
Right.
Did we not?
Okay.
Okay, right. Okay, fine. No, I feel that skews it somewhat. Have you guys
Gotta
ever
leave
noticed?
off.
I don't mind if you.
Right. Okay. So I did listen. I'd heard that there was a email about swearing and stuff, and I did go back and listen to a bit, and yeah, there was quite a bit. I mean, there was quite a bit from me as well, but I didn't notice it at the time. But when you go back, it was like pretty bad. I mean, it's not. I mean, I don't notice swearing anyway. Like I'm a, you know what I'm like.
It's off.
You're a bloody bloke.
I bloody am. Yeah, you're right. But it's I mean. It's pretty funny. I would never. If we were to bet, there's no way I would bet that Sean was the worst.
Yeah, no way.
No.
No way in hell.
It would be me all day long.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm actually disappointed with myself.
It's something I've been picked up on before years ago. I think it might have been in the Midnight Resistance days, and it was an email. It was like, I can't remember. Basically, the general tone of the email, it was very much like, I'm amazed he even likes the show to begin with, to be honest. So I didn't really take it to heart. And I think this is the only other time it's been mentioned.
Was that original email by someone called Sean S. Thomas?
Might well have
Is
been.
he back for another crack at it?
Oh, there was one, Sean. There was a bloody there.
Come on, Sean.
I mean,
10p in
I'll
the
tell you
jar,
this. I think every podcast I've been on, people have complained about swearing, but what can you do? What can
Swear
you do?
less,
Swear
swear
on the
less.
radio.
That's what you can.
It's not going. Yeah, I mean, you could make the classic joke and get telling them a fuck right off. But
Well, we're above that. We wouldn't do that.
no, it's funny though hearing that was. was the
I mean,
figure.
we're not as bad as some podcasts. Some podcasts is like every other word.
Also, playing it in front of your kids is dicey anyway, right?
Yeah, I mean, we've got explicit. We're explicit, boy. Don't you worry about that. We are explicit, baby. So,
It's a sorry, Sean. We're going to the police. Sorry, Sean S. Thomas. I mean, actually, both of you. We'll cover all bases.
okay, cool.
Colin's next. This is a massive rant about what you'll find out. Hi guys, massive fan, absolutely love everything you guys do. I've been listening for about a year now, started during the No Dave era, and I usually agree with most of the opinions you have on games, and I have faith in your recommendations. However, one opinion on a game has really bugged me, and I haven't been able to stop thinking about it, and that game is Jedi Fallen Order. I picked it up because I'm a big Star Wars fan and have been waiting for a quality game attached to the franchise ever since KOTOR. I booted the game up and was fairly impressed with the visual aspect and the scale of the opening mission. However, my joy soon faded as soon as I started the combat, and it rapidly went downhill with every passing second. I found the whole game very, very poorly executed. The combat was clunky and responsive, and for a Soulsborne style game to feel good, it has to feel fair, and with the delayed attack times and half-baked parry mechanic, it never felt like I died because of something I did, but because the game was crap. The exploration was pointless, every loot chest containing a fucking poncho. Sorry, Sean S. Thomas, that wasn't... I was reading an email, that doesn't count for me.
Yeah, no, that was
not the old. I was just quoting someone else.
It was a quote. Yeah, so every loot chest containing a flipping poncho with a map that made it even more confusing. The puzzle mechanics and were equal parts frustrating and piss easy. Again, Sean. Overall, I think this game got a big pass by you guys because it looked all right and it was attached to Star Wars. There's no real point to this rant. I've need to have since I played that rubbish bin of a game. Once again, I love you guys and everything you do. Keep it up. You made my 2-month lockdown experience a whole lot more enjoyable. From Colin. I mean, I had issues with it too.
Yeah, I thought we covered the issues with it quite extensively.
I wouldn't call it rubbish. I mean, it was, I think, flawed. Heavily flawed. I don't know about heavy flawed, but it was. And the sequel, I think, will be brilliant. I think they're going to fix a lot of things. Hopefully, I think it wasn't what we'd hoped. It wasn't what I'd hoped. It wasn't anywhere near like a 9 or 10 like I had anticipated. But it's still fun. I still enjoy my time with it. But there were definitely issues. I wouldn't call it a rubbish being
definitely
game.
not a 9 and 10. But I wouldn't. Yeah, I mean, and again, like some of the stuff you're saying about it being Souls. Like I mean, we discussed it at the time, but I genuinely think that it had aspects of Souls games. I don't think it was trying to imitate the combat. I don't think it was trying to do something completely different. And some of it worked, some of it didn't.
It's trying to take the model, but then not give you what Soulsborne games feel so good at, which is the satisfying
it's trying
combat.
to do something different. It doesn't want that slow paced. It doesn't want to overcomplicate it to the point, and it's not. Souls games,
it's for a different audience. It was made for a completely different audience. It's like an audience which, maybe they'd appreciate some of those kind of mechanics, but not the complexity that you would get.
That's
with
correct.
Those.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they change the second one and say actually it's more of an Uncharted experience, I would love that.
Yeah,
because I feel like
I don't know what you mean by that. What do you mean by more of an Uncharted experience?
I always saw slag off, the combat in Uncharted. It's not great. But it is sort of like turn your brain off to shoot things. And it tried to, in my eyes, have this Soulsborne combat model, so complex,
it didn't
interesting.
have the Soulsborne combat model. There was parrying systems, but there's been parrying in games other than Souls games, hasn't there?
Yeah, the only way you can say it's in any way like Dark Souls games is the fact that it's got like bonfires kind of for saving.
The enemies respawn.
I mean, it's more Metroidvania,
the actual
isn't
combat system, isn't? Yeah. It was very Metroidvania.
The only problem is it wasn't that good at the Metroidvania stuff. So I see where Matt's coming from.
The Metroidvania stuff was okay.
It wasn't.
I think the
map
biggest
was
problem
shite.
That was the biggest problem. The map wasn't great, but in terms of areas that you could go back and rediscover new places within older levels and stuff, I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I didn't really notice that until I went back to that first area and thought, fucking hell, I'd barely seen any of this because I couldn't access like the majority of it. I mean, the map needed work, although I did find that to be relatively okay the further I got into it and used to that map and how it worked. Traversal when you weren't, I wish you could just like quick travel into some areas because it was such a pain to get to. But yeah, I mean, it was. I don't know. I still enjoyed my time with it. I just know that it felt like a first in a series and not this great big blockbuster that it was kind of that we were all hoping for. Really. Yeah,
you could tell it was a bit of a departure for the team, but. Yeah, if they get to do another one, I'll be keen.
I'll be definitely keen. Yeah. I know when they announce the sequel, I'll be very excited to see what they changed, what they didn't. I mean, if they're not going to, I think, but if they were to say, oh, here's the sequel, and actually we have like simplified the combat model, we've got rid of like having to travel back to your ship and stuff after a level. I mean, a lot of people were like, well, hang on, you've made it really boring now.
The combat model wasn't complex at all.
It really wasn't, no.
It was really basic parry and block.
I just feel like they were trying to figure back on something, but not have the full model, and it felt like it just wasn't satisfying, wasn't good enough. And again, like I said, the Uncharted games aren't, but I feel like this tried to incorporate both like slow pace of some aspects with but also could be like a set piece fueled experience, but more like an Uncharted game. But I feel like if they took that stuff out and made it more like Uncharted, they'd be like, well, this is boring now. It's like another Uncharted game.
Okay, all right.
I mean, at the end of the day, I think Matt and I are the only people who had any problems with it. Everyone else seemed to absolutely love it, so I don't expect them to change a thing for the next one, to be honest. But if it's just the same but a bit more refined, that'd be great.
Yeah. I mean, the combat system definitely needs work. I think the biggest problem was why are we talking about this? But we've talked about this a million times. It's a really old game. Let's go to the next bit of feedback.
A few weeks ago, we put out a call to everyone. We said, "Hey, everyone." If you are a Stadia fan, get in touch. The inbox has been empty.
Hold on.
This doesn't seem like the sort of thing we should invite into the show.
What is that about?
No, because I think I said, does anyone actually use it? Like, if anyone's listening to this and you use it, please let us know.
And so we've been contacted by Stadia PR. who have.
No, well, we definitely said that because I think we said, well, I mean, this is when it went free. Anyway, regardless, we've got an email from a fan. Anthony Dunn has emailed in. Hi, guys. I've just listened to the Peter Parker pod. I'm a few weeks behind now that I don't commute.
Imagine if someone hadn't heard that, like, this is the first episode they're listening to, and that would they thought, oh, that sounds like a good Spider-Man podcast.
If it was their first episode, it's like, oh, brilliant. It's called the PlayStation 5 reveal. What the hell is this story about David Cage and Diet Coke?
If this was their first episode, they wouldn't have got this far.
No,
no way, definitely not. Definitely. They wouldn't turn off when it said, David Cage's supple body or whatever it said. Anthony Dunn. I've just listened to Peter Parker pod. I'm a few weeks behind now that I don't commute, and I have the perfect solution to the issue of limited storage space on the new consoles and the faff of managing which games have to be installed. Stadia. No downloads required. You buy a game and you can play it straight away, no faffing about. I know everyone hates it, but it has been a revelation for me as a dad of limited gaming time. I can rest easy knowing that if I want to quickly put a game on in the evening after everybody's gone to bed, I can do so safe in the knowledge that I'm not going to be coming away disappointed because it turns out there's a 50 gig update for the game I want to play. I can also quickly and easily switch over to play on my laptop when someone else wants to use the TV. These features make it worth it for me.
Yeah, you see, the thing is, he's not going to come away disappointed because of that. He'll come away disappointed because there are no games on the platform.
Well, I mean, he's having fun. Anyway,
clearly, there is.
There is, James. What yours? I'm no Stadia fanboy, though. There are definitely many things wrong with the service and how Google has handled it. Far too many to go into here. Love the pod. Keep up the great work, Anthony. So I'm just glad someone has genuinely emailed in to say they enjoy playing it.
Well, look, here's the thing, right? With Stadia, I think for a very, very limited audience, it's going to be a great thing to have. And I think, the reports of people saying it actually works, and that was like the first stuff that was coming out. I think the problem that so many people have with it is that I think a lot of people were expecting this to be a viable platform to introduce the world of streaming games to a more common gamer, a wider market, sort of thing.
The problem with this has never been the technology. It clearly does work, kind of. Like it's mostly works okay.
That should have been the hardest bit as well.
Yeah, but the biggest problem is that it's not what people thought it was going to be, and there's not a lot of games on it that are like sort of things that are coming out right now either. This is the problem.
Yeah, that's it. They've made some completely baffling decisions that make you think, hey, if you've got the technology that's working properly, then you've got a really good chance of making a go at this. But seemingly the most basic ideas that they've put around the business model is just confusing, and it hasn't been that revolutionary thing that I think we were all, none of us were expecting it to be this massive thing, but we sort of, I certainly thought, oh, maybe it's the sort of thing that I'll download for a month or whatever and try out, but I've had literally no interest in it. So in short, I'm really glad to hear that someone's making good use of that service, and I hope that it is maintained for people like you, but it's hard to see developers jumping on that store right now. And for a platform that is trying to sell you games, that's an issue.
Yeah,
they will ultimately pivot and be the thing that everyone expects it to be, which is like a Netflix of games.
I think it's the only way they'll save it.
Yeah,
I reckon they need to get a ton of at least indie games and make that completely streamable on their service for a very, very small price, just to get people into that ecosystem.
Yeah, well,
start introducing other stuff.
I think it's quite expensive if you want to go 4K, but yeah, say and obviously they will people want to pay 4K if they want to get AAA games, but for everyone else, maybe it's like an indie tier or something that's not 4K. Obviously there is a tier where it isn't 4K. Make it like £5 to £10. And yeah, if it's like a massive, if it is a Netflix of games, it's a bit like a Game Pass.
Put it this way. Could you imagine a bundle like the one that we've seen recently? What was sorry, I can't remember the official name of it. Bundle for
the Itch.io thing.
Yeah, the Itch.io bundle for
racial justice and equality.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, imagine that if it was on Stadia.
Yeah.
And you could pay the what, because it is a pain in the arse to go through those games. Make sure your computer can run them, and most computers can, but I'm using it on a Mac, and a lot of them don't, even though they say they can. Not a problem. I'm just saying it's a bit frustrating. Imagine that on Stadia, where you've just got 1,000 games on there, and you can just go, boom, I'll play that for a bit, I'll play that for a bit. That makes sense to me. The fact that you have to buy individual games at full price to stream them like this, you're not going to make that sort of leap. They need to get people in to start with. So I think that's where the disappointment comes from, and then that's where the jokes start building up, but I'm glad there are people out there that's making use of that service, and I just hope that Google do keep it going for those people that have actually invested in it.
Yeah, so I never thought I'd say this, but can we move on? There are more important things to talk about.
Go on then.
Well, let's get on with the main event, shall we?
Oh, you done with the feedback? Usually you say that's the end of the feedback.
That's the end of the feedback. If you want to leave us feedback.
Excellent, right, let's get on to the main event. James, this was originally part of your news, but we've decided to pull that section out and fully focus on the PS5 reveal. So how do you want to do this? Should we just go through it from start to finish? We'll skip over the games we're not really that interested in, and then get to the bit that I'm really looking forward to, the reveal of the PS5.
So, I mean, I did some work for this time to try and make this a bit easier, because there was so much stuff. So I put everything together. I've colour-coded things for what's exclusive, what's not exclusive.
Change some font.
The whole thing. I've changed the font, everything, to make it. But anyway, so there was this PlayStation 5 event.
What you should have done, the podcast, the listeners don't care about that.
I
don't care if you've changed the font in the Google Doc, mate. You should keep that quiet.
So what I thought I'd do is
I expected some appreciation from you, David. I mean, Sean was like, "Oh, brilliant, that's really nice." Nothing from you, apart from then you are slagging me off and saying that there was no news in the doc, even though there was, because you couldn't be bothered to read further down the document.
Can we get on with it?
Yeah, but James, you can't.
Yeah, let's get on with it. Let's get on with it. He's right. Matt's right. Let's get on with it. Let's get on with it. Okay.
So anyway,
come on.
There was a PlayStation 5 reveal event last week. We watched it and we streamed the whole thing. I've got all the details here. I mean, it kicked off with Grand Theft Auto 5.
Let's go. Right. Let's Grand Theft Auto 5.
Yeah.
What a strange. We did a talks over this. It's available on YouTube or whatever if you want to see our live reactions. But I mean, we were sitting there going, is this bit new? Is this new GTA 5?
Well, the worst thing is they showed the logo, the Rockstar logo, didn't they? And then you're just like, wow, what's it going to be? Is it going to be Bully 2 or whatever? And then, no, it's
well,
GTA
actually,
6.
I got confused by the voiceover at the start, because there's a quote at the start, isn't it? And I thought, is this from GTA 4? Just for half a second. Are they going to redo that?
Well, when I heard the music, I thought, hang on, is this like a San Andreas remaster or remake?
Yeah, so did I. Yeah, I was really just baffled, because obviously that trailer is so recognisable, but at the same time, it was ages ago. So it was like, fuck, what GTA are we talking here? And then, yeah.
It was GTA 5.
We then found out it was GTA 5.
Any of you guys heard of it?
This is the thing, isn't it? They were like, so the big announcement was that GTA 5, the online side of things, is going to be free on PS5. It's going to be a free-to-play game on PS5 the moment you get your new PlayStation.
But
you can download that.
Only for 3 months, though.
Really?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah.
Well, the first thing I thought when they showed that off was, who hasn't got GTA 5 at this point? They've sold 130 million of them.
Yeah.
But then also, is this not them spinning GTA Online off now from GTA 5 in general?
Yeah,
and just being
it off rather than it
so.
being yeah.
Yeah, I mean they've done it separately, but I don't know if that's going to be a thing going forward.
I think it makes total sense, because when they announced GTA 6, they were like, "Wow, is this going to come on GTA Online?" But by that point, it will be its own standalone thing that people won't necessarily think, hang on, GTA 6 means a big update. They will just then run in parallel.
I don't see why it would make sense. Why would they want to change their business model in any way, shape or form? They've sold 130 million copies of Grand Theft Auto.
I think it's because they must just be raking it in on fucking currency and on GTA.
Yeah.
I
think
they're
if it's free to download, that's
Sorry.
even less of a gateway to get in.
I'm thinking going forward. Like, for GTA, whatever's next, you know what I mean? I'm assuming 6?
Yeah, that's 6.
Yeah, that goes after 5.
I mean, they wouldn't do that going forward. They'd just do the same thing as they've done for
I don't
5,
know.
right? I do. Matt, why would they change it? They have made a ridiculous amount.
Well, because I think
but
GTA Online
saying...
has outperformed even what they thought it would do. I think that's why, because there was for ages it was like, oh yeah, there's probably going to be more story content, and then just over the years it was like, no, what's the fucking point? Like,
correct. But we know that the full game still sells in insane numbers, and even if that's just for people buying GTA Online, they're not going to change that. That would be madness.
But I would love to know how much labour goes into a GTA campaign versus like just keeping the online stuff ticking over.
God, fucking hell.
Also, you've got to. They're also having to, I imagine, probably update the main game, even when a lot of stuff might be just going towards online, and maybe having both GTA Online, which is probably massive, with GTA 5 as well. There might be like size limitations and stuff. I think it makes sense. And like if it's free to download, free to play, at least only for that limited period, then like there's no barrier. People go in, buy DLC, buy currency.
No, I think it totally makes sense for GTA 5 to do this, to separate that out, mainly because, I mean, surely they can't sell another shed load of GTAs for I mean, they probably will after those 3 months.
I mean, it didn't look any better, right? And I'm not saying like GTA 5 had, like, considering it originally came out on the PS3 and 360, has aged pretty well. But it wasn't like, holy fuck, look at the PS5 version. It was basically the same, wasn't it, visually?
Well,
yeah, it was basically the same.
I mean, what's interesting is, like, we'll cover this later, is that later there was that thing saying from here on out, everything you see is on PS5.
Yeah.
This was obviously before that. It did say it was enhanced and expanded, but we don't know how. The stream again was in 1080p 30, so
yeah.
I mean, I would assume
it's going to look nice, isn't it?
I would assume obviously we didn't see PS5 visuals, but
if it doesn't take 3 hours to load up, that'll be a bonus.
It will be. Well, no loading, Sean, on
exactly.
PS5. So
I mean, they've also
said
that
it was
a fucking weird thing to lead with, right?
They've also said that owners of GTA 5 on PS4 are going to get like $1 million dollars in GTA cash like every month until the PS version of the game comes out next year, which is weird. I mean, this is also, but the other thing about this is this isn't coming out until like the second half of 2021 anyway. It's like over
really
bizarre, isn't
no,
it?
it's a long way away. It's a weird way to start this off though, isn't it? And I mean, I listened to a couple of other podcasts where they were just like speculating that it was like, what kind of deal did Rockstar get to have this front loaded? Because it's a weird, like, nothing beginning to this. It's strange.
Yeah, I mean,
I can't imagine GTA. I can't.
But then maybe it's one of those things that we've said repeatedly. We're sort of mystified by how, well, not mystified, but the fact, like the sheer fucking size of. Sorry, that was a completely unnecessary F word. I am really bad, aren't I?
Please don't start any of that. Let's
the
just
sheer
crack on.
flipping size of GTA Online is, you can't even grasp it, right? It's unbelievable how big that game is, and we occasionally dip back in and have a good time, but there are people who just absolutely hammer it all the time. So yeah, maybe it's one of those where actually there was 130 million people watching that, going, right, brilliant, I'll get PS5 then.
There's hundreds of millions, there's, I don't know the actual sales, but is it 130 million, Sean?
That's what Dave said earlier, and I believe him completely.
Was it 130 million people? I mean, although we were like, well, why advertise now? That's like a lot of people saying, oh god, okay, brilliant, enhanced.
God, what if it wasn't 130 million? It was that news story not too long ago.
It was a massive number, but also like that makes sense from what you're saying, with especially giving people this $1 million in GTA cash every month as well. Where it's like, if that carries over, that's an incentive to stay on the PS4 version.
Oh, it's obviously going to carry over, yeah.
But we also know that Microsoft have their own deals with Rockstar, so it's not like a big, thing for Sony to have a deal with Rockstar, is it?
Well, I mean, they said partnership. I mean, who knows what Xbox's partnership with Rockstar will be like in next gen. But yeah, this basically says, well, hon, if I get $1 million now, I'm basically going to keep playing that on PS5. It's really interesting. Obviously, massive amount of people play it, and it's a big old play. But it definitely confused us at the beginning. Like, why are they showing this? But
really.
I mean, is it as big as getting Rockstar games on Game Pass? That's
good point.
That's a pretty big deal as well.
I'd say
isn't
it's bigger than that. Like, in terms of like getting people locked into your platform as well.
Yeah, this is saying if you play
the million
GTA Online, play on PS4, you get $1 million a month, and you'll get this free one when you get a new console. That's huge.
I don't know how much $1 million a month is worth. Is that worth quite a lot?
Fair bit, yeah. So when I tried, one time I was playing GTA Online, I was like, right, I want to buy a yacht. I want to buy a massive yacht because it seemed like a cool thing to do. And they cost about 7 million of in-game currency. And I was like, yeah, do you know what? I've been playing this a while. I'll put some money in. That's all right. No, it's about 70 quid. So,
yeah. Or 7 months worth of waiting, guys. Okay, all right. Then.
I mean, there will definitely be a version of GTA 5 on Xbox.
Yeah, definitely.
And
I mean, presumably, the current one will just work on the Series X.
Well, there's that. I mean, and there's no way that this version on PS5 will be exclusive because, I mean, I don't think
why would
so.
They do that?
It won't.
They've got no need to do that.
It's not going to be exclusive. All it's going to be is it's just be that you get this $1 million, dollars or whatever, and also it will carry over. That's the only thing that's going to be that makes this a big deal, really.
And it'll be a free standalone to download. Yeah. I don't know.
For a couple of months. But anyway, so then we had the first, let's say the first proper game they showed off, which was Spider-Man Miles Morales. And this is...
It's not the first proper game then, is it, really?
Well, no, but that's the thing, because there's been loads of confusion about this, because clearly it wasn't entirely clear, when they showed this. So it's coming out, what they're calling as holiday season, which probably means around, the PS5 launch. And it's a spin-off game. It's not a remake of the original with, an add-on. It's going to be apparently similar to, Uncharted's Lost Legacy thing, where it's it's basically just a shorter another game, like a side story thing, really.
I'd be interested to see how much they price it at.
Yeah.
Apparently... oh, no, I'm thinking about another game. I mean, I can't see it being...
Go on. What was that? What game were you thinking about? Carl, please tell me your full process then.
It was that new Star Wars game.
Squadron.
Cheaper than full price.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine this will be full price, but when I saw it, I was like, hang on, no way. Like a Spider-Man sequel, that feels so soon.
But then if it uses the same map and stuff...
Sorry?
If it uses the same city and everything, then I guess that's a fair bit of the work done already. But yeah. No, this was cool. I do really want to play the 2018 one, which is why I was really disappointed when initially I thought this was DLC and that it was PS5 exclusive, because I was like, well, I've been thinking about getting the original. But then but I'd really like to play the Miles Morales stuff, but I'm probably not going to buy a PS5 for it anyway. But if I just play the original, I feel like I'm missing out. But
sure, I'll lend you my copy if you want. It's a good game.
Oh, cheers, man. Yeah, I'd appreciate that.
Just play the original. Anyway, I absolutely loved the original, and I think I may. I mean, obviously, I guess I'll wait for reviews, but I want to play more Miles Morales as a class character, and I'm really tempted to get this again just because it's so bloody good and it's going to look amazing on PS5.
Did you see Into the Spider-Verse in the end, Mark? I can't remember.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah, of course. Yeah, amazing.
Do you know, I own that and still haven't watched it. I know but it's
incredible.
Yeah.
You should watch Wall-E first, I reckon. Okay, what was the next game that they showed?
Okay, so then we had Gran Turismo 7. No release date as yet, but it's Gran Turismo, isn't it?
Yeah, certainly is.
It looks amazing as you would expect.
Does it though?
Well, no, I mean,
visually,
the lighting and stuff looks stunning. Yeah,
I didn't think it looked any better than anything we'd seen from Forza or anything like that at all.
I don't know. I watched all the trailers again, 4K, and it looked amazing. But I've fallen off Gran Turismo in the last few revisions. But
I was never on it. It's boring. Isn't it?
Yeah, I don't. I mean, again, it might be just.
I think the name is still.
The name still has
I do think it still carries weight. But I can't remember the last one that was universally praised. Can you? I don't think the last one was it?
I can't remember the last time there was a fuss about any of them. Been a long time, but yeah.
It's I mean, I'm sure it'd be a great driving game, but in terms of showcases, I do wonder how. I mean, driving games have always been a massive showcase for the graphical leaps these consoles have taken. But now that the focus seems to be on, say, more realistic lighting and stuff like that, I wonder how much of a impact that genre will have on showing how fancy new graphics are. It was always the go-to before. But I wonder if the leaps that we're making in graphics and art design, it's going to be that impactful.
It's not with that, but I think the lighting looked stunning in the 4K version I saw, and like with I guess ray traced lighting and this and the other and HDR, it will look amazing.
Okay,
cool.
James?
So then next we had there's Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, and so yeah, I mean I thought that looked really decent. It looked great.
It
looked
did.
lovely, didn't it?
It was a bit of a disappointment the way, it had that sort of cutscene at the beginning where he was going through all the portals and he was going between different, completely different environments and stuff. And I was like, oh, holy shit, this is the showcase for, the sort of instant loading stuff.
Yeah.
Like this would not have been possible, previous gen or whatever. But then in the actual gameplay footage, the portal stuff was basically, it was just kind of just sort of jumping around the same environment a little bit. But it did look good fun though.
Yeah, we don't know how deep they're going to go into that. Traditionally when they do little gameplay demos like that, they're very early on in the game. It gave you the idea that, I see what this can do now if it's able to load loads of different environments at the same time and easily switch between them. Then I see how their SSD stuff could be so important. But we certainly didn't see that in the gameplay. But that's also... not to say that it's not going to be in the final game.
I think we'll see both actually. Because after watching, I basically watched this whole thing like 3 times. I watched it when we did the talks over. I watched it again today, and then I watched all the individual trailers. And I noticed that basically in terms of the portals, the purple ones were sending the Ratchet and or Clank to another entirely new environment. The yellow ones are basically essentially portals. And it felt like, at least in the demos, in the thing we saw, that at the end of one of the areas there was a purple one to then suddenly switch to another environment, and maybe that's when you're like, hang on, there's no loading at all, this is crazy. But most of the...
Is this confirmed for launch, James?
No, there's no release date for it yet.
Okay. See, because there's a running theme that I'm sure we'll cover at the end. But there was a lot of confusion as to what's exclusive, what's timed exclusive.
They didn't.
Console.
It's true. If you look through the list, there's most of this is exclusive actually, at least timed or otherwise. But yeah, they didn't do the whole Microsoft thing of world exclusive and all that kind of thing every.
That was really good, James. But more importantly, we don't really know what the launch lineup looks like.
No, we don't.
No. It's strange that there weren't a lot of dates. There wasn't a lot of information about what we can expect day one on this machine, and I think that's more important for Sony than it is Microsoft, because Microsoft are going to have all their. It's practically going to be your entire collection anyway. Whereas I'm sure. That's the stuff that I'm interested in, because it could be the same for PlayStation.
Spider-Man's launch and just because it says holiday, and although Sony have said PS5's at holiday 2020,
you would expect the games that say holiday 2020 would be launch games, right?
Yeah, you would, but then also when it said holiday, I also imagine they'll launch not in December when it's the holidays. I imagine it'll be late October or November. But any of these games could come out a week or two later, so there'd be a launch window as there is.
That's when they start saying it's launch window, isn't it? And then they'll just basically say all of these games are launch window, meaning within 2 years.
Well, this is why I enjoy it when they say holiday instead of quarter, whatever, because it's because if you say quarter, you're definitely saying what's within a 3-month area. Whereas when you say holiday, people just think, well, it's out for Christmas. Be out for Christmas. Yeah. Even though the window is still the same size, but people just think, well, yeah, but I'll definitely have it for Christmas, and that's a singular day. It's weird.
But there was a lot of these games that we were shown that say 2021, which I was surprised about. So, yeah, we didn't get a sense of what the full launch or even partly what the lineup will be at launch.
Do you think part of this is also though because of COVID as well, because they can't really be certain?
Possibly, yeah. They wouldn't want to promise games for the launch period and then have to drop them. That would be
Drive Club.
That wouldn't be great. What was that?
Drive Club.
Drive Club. Poor Drive Club. Okay, James, what was next?
And then we had Project Athea, which is another timed exclusive that's for PS5 and PC. Oh no, it's not timed. No, it's just
this is designed exclusively.
It's just for PS5 and PC. And this is Square Enix Luminous Productions game.
So this is the studio that made Final Fantasy 15, which I liked. A lot of people didn't. I thought this looked really cool. Certainly like the visuals. It was certainly one of the first like next gen games, more than like anything I saw in the Microsoft one the other week, where I was just like, oh shit, this could not work on current gen.
Which one was the? I mean, what did it look like? I can't remember the trailer.
It was the one with the woman with the cloak sort of dashing around and jumping and stuff. And yeah, it wasn't entirely clear what the game is, like whether it's like an action game or what. But I thought it looked really cool.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, Dave. Fucking hell.
No, I'm not. I was just going right. Okay, yeah, no, that's fine. I wasn't having a go at you.
I know.
With your potty mouth. It's just honestly,
that game, Project Athia or whatever. That's it was writing was actually led by Gary Whitta, former PC Gamer writer and Book of Eli writer, and and Rogue One writer. Mm-hmm. So he said he led like a bunch of like writers from TV and graphic novels and like film and games and stuff. So it'd be interesting to see what that's like.
Fingers crossed.
What would you do if it found out though that one of those writers that you got from TV wrote Mrs. Brown's Boys? How would that change your opinion of the
petition? I'll do a petition.
Your expectation.
I'll start a petition.
Okay, right. Go on.
Then we had Stray. This is this is developed by Blue 12.
This is the old switcheroo of a trailer, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
And this is...
It's all futuristic. You play as a cat.
You do. It's set in a world, apparently, where humans have died off. That's what it seems like anyway. There's loads of robots, but then you're a cat. This is exclusive for PS5 and PC as well.
Okay, not bothered about this. I'm not a fan of cats.
I mean, me neither. But it's being published by Annapurna, so it's probably good.
It will be great.
They haven't backed a stinker yet.
They've never released a bad game, have they, Matt?
I don't believe I have. No. Name one, Dave.
You can't. Remember. They did the space game that you liked, didn't they?
So they did what remains of Edith Finch. They did Gorogoa, Florence, Donut. I wasn't a massive fan of Donut County, but everyone seems to really like it. Outer Wilds, a bunch of others. They're good.
They haven't done a bad one. So interesting.
Well, publishers though. We should remember that, right? They're the publishers.
Yeah, I'm just saying
it's developed by Blue 12.
Yeah, it's developed by it's again published by Annapurna, just like the publisher of other good games. So.
Yeah.
Okay, the overrated space game, right? Yeah.
Okay, and then we had this is like another exclusive, which was called Returnal, which is developed by Housemarque, and this is a game about. I mean, it's this lone female space explorer who crashes on a planet and then keeps living the same life period over and over again. But the planet changes every time she dies. But no release date yet, obviously, for this.
I'd love to know how much of the story sort of stuff that it showed off is actually in the game.
Yeah, me too.
Or does it immediately take a back seat?
Because the trailer looked great, the story seemed interesting. But if you don't see much, and it is, Housemarque are great, and so I imagine shooting will be brilliant in it.
Yeah, it looks like a Housemarque game that has been that uses like a third-person shooter. Visually, a first-person shooter over the shoulder camera. But it looked like it played exactly like you'd expect from the creators of Resogun and Nex Machina and stuff like that. So, yeah, I'm interested in it. I wasn't completely... when I originally saw it, I thought, this looks like a really interesting, dramatic space game. And then we saw the sort of nightmare stuff. And I was like, okay, I'm not 100% on board, but... Yeah. There was a lot of story stuff sort of hinted at, and a lot of scenes of the character at home in her hometown and stuff on Earth. And they wouldn't have just made that stuff just for the trailer. So you'd hope that it's made it into the game, because that's the stuff that I was interested in. So yeah, one to keep an eye on for sure.
Yeah. I think I hate the name.
Returnal.
Yeah. It's just. It's and I love pun, and this is the sort of thing I would probably come up with at work. But it's just like so obvious. It's like eternal return. It's like, oh no, I don't. The name doesn't do much for me, but the game's interesting.
All right, well, send them a letter.
Yeah,
I'll send an email. Dave, wake up 2020.
Yeah. No, you know what you need to do, Matt? Comment underneath the trailer in the YouTube.
Just get your point made.
I've done that and I haven't got a single response.
They're not taking me seriously. Go on, what was next, James?
Okay, so the next one was one of the ones that actually I was the most interested in, which even though I don't think anyone else would be, which was...
Bug Snacks?
No, this was... no, we'll get to that.
Save the gold, Dave. Save that.
Okay, so this was Sackboy: A Big Adventure. And this is platformer by Sumo Digital. There's no release date, but it does seem to have multiplayer. But also, it's not entirely clear whether this has got all of the usual like creation stuff that you get from the little bit behind.
I assume not. It seemed,
No. It looked like a straight up
Mario 3D World, didn't it?
3D Mario 3D World game. Yeah, I mean, it's funny how like I thought the more I watched this trailer, the more I got into it. Like initially, I saw Sackboy, I was like, man, I fucking love that character, and they've never done anything with it that I like.
Do you know what I mean? Do you love that character?
I don't know how you can't like that character, Matt. It's cute looking. It just the movement and stuff.
The
animation of the character is wonderful.
And so I've obviously seen him from afar, but I've never.
It's not what Sackboy as you see him. It is not really why people love him. Like he dresses up in different things constantly.
You're telling me there's layers to Sackboy, is that what you're saying?
Yeah. There's the stuffing, the cotton, the wool,
say that again.
the zip. I don't know. I don't know how you can't look at that character and say that's a nicely designed character.
I just look at him. I don't have any emotional response at all. But
I mean, he's a blank slate, isn't he? That's the whole point. You can make him. Doesn't even have to be a he. You can make him whatever you want. But yeah, no, I'm intrigued by this because, as you're saying, like Little Big Planet, I've always loved the idea of it, but I've never had time to make stuff, and it's never felt great as a platformer. So, to make one from the ground up just as a straight platformer with just a set of pre-made levels, like it looked like there were loads of sort of very sort of, as you say, sort of Mario 3D World-esque mechanics and stuff, co-op play and everything. I think this looks like it'll be a good time.
It needs to be fucking excellent.
See, this is why.
Sorry,
can you turn down the swearing, Dave, please? No swearing.
Sony have. No, I don't give a fuck. Sony have got a history of copying Nintendo style games and a history of completely
it absolutely
fucking
does not need to be excellent. This has got. I'm sorry to say this. It's got a launch game written all over it. So this could be like a 7, and people are like, I picked it up. It was great fun.
You're a man that hasn't played 3D World.
Yeah,
it absolutely has to be excellent.
No, but I think they can get away with not being excellent because this will come out at launch. I mean, again, no release date. Is that correct, James? No release date yet?
There's no release date, no.
Yeah, so this come out at launch, and I anticipate you probably will do, but who knows? This could be 6 or 7 out of 10. People are like, I want another game from PS5, family friendly. I'll get Sackboy, and they'll say, it wasn't great, but I had good fun with the family.
Matt, I don't know about you, but I don't give a shit how well. Yeah, I don't give a shit how well it sells. I want a good game. Like that's the part. If it sells tons, that's fine. But it's not. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying
it has to be excellent for you. But I'm saying in a wider scheme of things, then get away with it being average, and I think it'll do really well.
That's 90% of launch games, though, isn't it?
Possibly, yeah.
What all I'm interested in is whether it's going to be a good game, because if they do nail it. This, James and I adore these types of games, and if they do nail it, then brilliant. Yeah. And there's a new series with a character that I like that plays a game that that we absolutely love. So
exactly, if this is like a pretty good solid platformer, in like the 3D World like sort of style with multiplayer in 4K and everything, I'd be well up for that. That sounds amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think the thing is, if
hang
it
on,
is
so you're
excellent,
saying if it's a pretty good platform, it'll be fine.
What?
That's what you're saying, James? Yeah.
No, I was saying if it's a good game in 4K. Well, I don't understand what.
I mean,
what
that's not a massive list of requirements.
I thought you were agreeing, saying, look, if it's a good game, 4K multiplayer, brilliant. That
right.
To me...
So sorry, Matt. To explain my point, people are gonna, if this is as close to 3D World as it looked in the trailer, people are gonna compare it directly with that.
Yeah.
So if it's an average game, it's gonna get absolutely caned because it's up against one of the best Mario games, right? And people are gonna be comparing it against one of the best Mario games. I don't mean competing financially and in the business sense. I mean as in the sort of critical recognition it gets. And I think if it is way weaker than the games we're used to playing like that, then I
would be
don't think we'll
disappointing.
see as many versions of this as we possibly could. If this is up there with the level of 3D World, then we will see this become a series, and we'll get lots more of the games.
I disagree.
Really?
Because I think, because I get like Mario games are amazing, and if you compare almost every game, many games to it, like, well, it's not as good. But I feel like this will probably be great or good, and it won't be up that level of of a Mario game, Mario 3D Land, 3D World, whatever it is. But it'll still be great or good enough, and I'm sure it'll sell crazy, and and I'm sure there will be others. I don't think it has to be. Well, if this isn't a 10 or a solid 9, then what's the point? We won't bother. Yes, they will, because they got Sackboy. They're trying to explore more avenues for this character.
Yeah, I know. I think the fact is that personally speaking, I want a very, very good platform if I'm going to play a platformer, and if it's an average one, then it's they could release as many as they want. I'm not going to be interested in it.
Okay.
All right, go on. What was next?
Okay, and then we had Destruction All-Stars, which is another PS5 exclusive. This time it's by Lucid Games, and this is mostly...
I've seen a lot of lukewarm receptions to this. I think this looks fucking excellent.
Really? Oh, I think it looks... Yeah, I'm really excited for this.
Sorry, James, I cut you off.
Yeah,
then.
so it's mostly people that were with Bizarre Creations and Sony Liverpool who did Wipeout and stuff. But yeah,
Blur.
most of the reception I've seen, I agree. Like, people have been kind of sniffy about it because they just think it looks like Fortnite or whatever, and they're not that happy about that for some reason.
Yeah, that in-your-face sort of presentation gets up certain people's noses, doesn't it? Yeah, they instantly get turned off by it. But I loved it. I thought, it reminded me a little bit of On Rush, because that was very explosive and let's go. It had that about it. But I don't know, if they get it right, it could be good. There's one concern that I've got, is that they're thinking esports with this, because it did have a hint of like Rocket League and stuff about it.
I don't know.
I don't know, crashing into people. I don't know if you could turn that into an esport. I'd love to be proved wrong, but
I don't know necessarily esport. I mean, like competitive, yeah, but I don't know. But it looked fantastic. If they can nail if it handles as well as Rocket League does in terms of how satisfying it is, I'd be well up for this.
Well, I mean, what I mean by esport is that it's not necessarily like you wouldn't associate every competitive game with being an esport, but there is a certain style of game that you feel is not pushing towards that, but within a sort of containment of very easy to watch, very easy to follow, scores very clear, all that sort of thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get that.
You're talking sort of like your what's your disc throwing game that you love? Windjammers. And we thought the same about that Blade Run. Was there a roller derby game that was Ubisoft announced ages ago and then never mentioned again?
It wasn't really roller derby. It was similar, similar sort of thing. Yeah,
because that's what I thought this was originally.
That sort of thing.
Had the same sort of vibe.
I was intrigued.
It's definitely worth checking out.
When they showed you can basically get knocked out, your vehicle gets destroyed, and then you're on foot for a bit or whatever. And it looked like there were sort of different abilities and sort of different like movement abilities and stuff that you had, which I thought was cool, because it's similar to the Titanfall thing of like, some people are in robots, but actually if you're good, there are advantages to just being on foot as well. So if they nail that, that'd be really interesting.
Yeah, well, this is it. This has so much potential to be total dung.
Yeah.
but we're just hopeful that it's going to be good, and it looked like a fun, different game,
This is fully exclusive, isn't it, this one?
Yes, and I like the fact that it's on the PlayStation as well, because when that PS1 came out, there was a Destruction Derby game on that. It was fun. So cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Next game was called Kenna Bridge of Spirits, and this is an adventure game by Ember Lab. No release date on this either. This is another exclusive, but I think timed exclusive. So yeah.
Okay.
I mean, this looked absolutely fine.
Yeah. What does this? What was the trailer for this?
It was the sort of slightly fantasy third-person platformer. A little bit.
The environments were changing very quickly again. It felt like, hey, this is clear again. Another show of the power of PlayStation. No loading. It was like it was switching between like different environments. One was like a big forest, and suddenly like a totally different environment entirely. So yeah. It looked nice. We'll see.
Okay.
Then we had Goodbye Volcano High, which is a narrative adventure game.
This was,
This is by Co-op. This is coming 2021. But
Listen, it's by Co-op. It will probably be good.
What have Co-op done?
They did Nog, G-N-O-G, and then they also recently did Winding Worlds on Apple Arcade, which is great as well.
Okay, I don't know those ones, but my word, this I don't know.
It wasn't an effective trailer, was it? Because it basically was all story stuff, and at no point was it clear what the actual game was, or not to me anyway.
I mean, this could have basically been Life is Strange. It had the same
that's
music,
the thing
same
that got
dialogue.
Me.
But instead of being realistic-ish characters in Life is Strange, it was animals.
I mean, I'll say it's not a visual style that I've seen much in games, but it wasn't one that appealed to me either. So
I think I heard on the podcast actually it's based on a US TV show. So
right,
one would assume maybe like there is like Volcano High like cartoon or something, and obviously the same style. If that's the case, then I see where I've done it. Who knows?
Not for me. This okay. All right, should we get to the next one?
Yep. Then we saw Ghostwire Tokyo, which is another PS5 console exclusive. I mean, this is like
you forgot one, haven't you? Oh no,
sorry, There was also before that there was Oddworld Soulstorm, which is another timed exclusive.
Am I mad in thinking that Oddworld was sort of a dark comedy?
That's what I always thought. I thought it was like supposed to be like a sort of critique of like capitalism and everything. I thought that was...
I mean, there was some... Yeah, exactly. There was some obviously heavy themes in those games, without a doubt, but it was played with, as you say, farting, and like, didn't the little characters like laugh at each other when they died and stuff like that? I can't remember.
I don't remember.
I've not played an Oddworld game for ages, but this seemed like, it would be like a movie coming out and it's Postman Pat like being taken deadly serious because he's delivered the wrong package or whatever, and he goes home and he cries and stuff. It was all that, like, I don't know. It just seemed way too serious for an Oddworld game, but. Okay, fine. I will say that although it's only a side-scrolling game, it looked fucking incredible in places. I don't know if you've watched this one in 4K, Matt, did you?
I don't know.
Oh my word.
Because not all of them were in 4K. I don't know. When I saw it, I wasn't blown away visually.
Give it a look again, because it's doing a lot with lighting and...
I saw a nice sort of like sun rays coming from behind of the level and stuff. But I don't know.
It looked really good.
It's a look generally I'm not blown away by, and I've never played an Oddworld game. I'm not particularly inspired to bother playing it. It does nothing for me really.
Okay, fair enough.
So sorry James, I'm just looking at your notes. So this is a retelling of Oddworld Abe's Exodus. Was that the first one or the second one?
Wasn't that the second one?
Was it? I think it was the second.
Abe's Odyssey was the first.
Abe's Odyssey. Yeah, you're right. That was the first. Okay, interesting.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. So then, as I said, we had Ghostwire Tokyo, which was we saw that at the Bethesda thing. Was it last year? They showed that off.
Yeah.
And
why don't I remember this? Then the title sounds like it's totally my shit, and I can't remember a fucking thing about it. Oh no, this is the horror one, isn't it? Yeah. No, that's why I don't remember it.
Mm-hmm.
Carry on.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of reminded me of The Darkness, not the band. Like first-person magic-style combat. Yeah, I mean, okay. It again didn't do much for me, but interesting to see where.
It's Shinji Mikami. It will probably be decent. But the way the trailer showed the combat, it was just like there's a monster. Do some hand symbols, shoot ice at it, it blows up. It wasn't clear what was like. It looked like there were all different spells and stuff going on, but then it wasn't clear how any of it works really. So don't know.
Okay, all right. Next up,
then we had Jet: The Far Shore, which is developed by Super Brothers. This was they call this is a new cinematic action adventure game that invites you on an interstellar trip to carve out a future for a people haunted by oblivion. Coming this year.
So I thought this looked fantastic.
Didn't stick out for me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited about it, but yeah, when it cut to the gameplay footage of actually being on the planets, didn't look amazing, did it?
No, certainly it looked incredibly basic.
Yeah, certainly not in a showcase for next gen.
Got space
stuff
in it, Sean. So tick.
God, yeah, this was the one with that massive snake thing in the sand, right?
Oh, was it?
I think the ship like zoom past like a massive like skeleton of a
skeleton or something.
something.
Yeah.
I thought the music was amazing, and like correct me if I'm wrong, Sean, but this isn't like the same composer that they have worked with in the past. Is that correct?
No, yeah,
it's not. Is it? It's
so when they did Sword and Sorcery, that was with Jim Guthrie, but this was someone else whose name I forgot.
Yeah, so this is by what I just said. Like it's scientific.
Oh
with all
but
the
with
vowels taken out. So SCN, TFC.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the music was amazing. It was incredibly epic, and it looks like it's a space game. So I'm definitely interested in this. Yeah, the gameplay did look quite basic. Oh, sorry, at least how the gameplay looked visually looked quite basic. But I'm up for it.
Okay.
Then we had Godfall, which I don't know. I was completely disinterested by this. This is published by Gearbox. I mean, I know that Randy Pitchford's had nothing to do with this specifically because it's developed by Counterplay, but it just didn't. To me, it just didn't look very interesting. I was not that bothered.
So this is weird, right? Because I wasn't particularly fussed about this. For anyone who's not seen it, it initially looks like a bit of a Souls-like, but then actually once it got into the combat, it was quite arcadey, wasn't it?
God, this is the one where I just thought this looks like the most PlayStation thing.
Yeah.
Well, it was the soundtrack, wasn't it?
But what I didn't realise is, Counterplay Games, they made Duelist, which was past tense because they had to shut it down. A really, really good sort of deck builder stroke turn-based strategy game that was really good. But it just didn't have the numbers to support it, so they had to kill it. But this is nothing like that. So I really liked Duelist, but I don't know if previous form means anything here because this is a completely different type of game. So I don't know.
Yeah, I thought it looked okay. The soundtrack seemed really weird.
Oh, what was it? I remember thinking the same thing, but what I can't remember what the soundtrack was.
I'm not sure what sort of music you describe it as, but it's like really like thumping beats.
Yeah,
and I looked at it and I thought it just feels really at odds with the game. Like in my mind, looking at that trailer, it feels on mute. I'm like, well, this will have a kind of, operatic.
Oh shit! Yeah. No, I know the soundtrack was "Pop an Old Oak" by Rednecks.
That's the one, yeah.
Right?
That is the one.
Yeah. Yeah. It worked really well. I think through the visuals, it was pretty impressive.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, no, I totally get what you mean, like James. I feel bad, but when I see like published by Gearbox, I'm like, ugh.
It's not a seal of approval these days.
I know I shouldn't. I know it's bad of me, but
okay, cool.
Okay, and then next we had Solar Ash. Which was originally apparently Solar Ash Kingdom, and this is coming 2021 from Heart Machine of Hyperlight Drifter, and it's exclusive to.
Yeah, so I mean, you were sorry, it's exclusive to
PS5, PS4, and PC.
Right. So, Sean, you were a massive Hyperlight Drifter fan.
Yes, mate.
Did this rock your boat?
It did. I mean, it looks very well. I was going to say it looks very different. It's only in that it's 3D. It's not obviously Hyperlight Drifter was all pixel art. There are similarities visually in terms of the colour palette and stuff, but this looks really intriguing. I think we still don't know a huge amount about it, but that sort of final shot in the trailer where the perspective goes all weird and you're upside down and shit, and it looks look really impressive. And Hyperlight Drifter's like one of my all-time favourites. So really excited about this.
Cool. Next,
then we had Hitman 3.
Yeah,
bit of a surprise, wasn't it? See this pop up?
Yeah.
Pleasant surprise, though. Yeah.
I mean, it's great to hear that they're still doing Hitmans.
Because it's been
Hitman 2 went by pretty quietly, didn't it?
As far as I'm aware, it absolutely tanked. So I think, there was certainly a worry because obviously that was, so obviously Hitman came out 2016 and then Square Enix let IO Interactive go. But, there was this whole thing like, it's okay. They've managed to go independent. They can do whatever they want, and then so then they partnered with Warner Brothers to do Hitman 2, and then that tanked as well. So it was just like, are we just not going to see another one now? Really chuffed to see that this is happening. We don't know who's publishing this, do we? The trailer didn't say.
No, I didn't see anything.
So,
okay, so new Hitman coming.
Yeah,
yep.
I'd really need to. I mean, that's
not exclusive, is it?
No, that's coming to everything. That's it's not just.
I mean, I'm talking like I'm number one super fan. I fell off the first one for no reason at all, and I've got the second one. I just haven't played it. So I do really need to go back and go through them because, like,
I really like what I played at the first one, but I didn't pick up the second.
So the first one I did up to Marrakesh, and it was just one of those. I think the level after that was Colorado, and everyone said that was like the weakest one so far. And you know what it's like when you've got multiple games on the go. Like that's enough to kill it, you know.
Yeah, it's quite intimidating going into a new level for the first time as well in that game, isn't it? Because there's so much to learn. Yeah. There's so much to learn in those levels. So, okay, yeah, cool. Next,
then we had Astro's Playroom, which this is coming. This is what was weird because when I saw this, I was really excited when I saw this because I loved the Astrobot VR game. This is coming at launch with the console, and then I became much less interested as it started to go on because it appears that it is just it's a tech demo, basically.
Yeah,
I mean they do this for all them machines recently, haven't they?
It's not so much a like a full standalone game, but it's going to have apparently 4 distinct worlds that are each themed around different parts of the PS5, to sort of show the stuff like haptic feedback and all that kind of thing. So this will come with every PS5. So I guess that's good.
This will be showing you what your controller can do that all other developers will ignore for the next 7 years.
Yeah, pretty much.
So it's I mean it's cool that they do these things, but I don't think it's anything to get too excited about.
Yeah.
Right, can we have a bet now? Chances of there in one of these mini games, a little bit in the game where you can feel ball bearings in the playroom.
You reckon?
Very high.
I reckon there'll be one where you can where you're going into different environments a lot.
Yeah. Definitely.
And it's only switches. Yeah, that'll be that. That'll
be one
there.
where you're feeling maybe in a vehicle and you can feel different.
Have they confirmed whether there's a speaker in the pad yet or not?
Oh, I don't know.
There's a microphone, so you would assume. I think it is. Yeah, it must be surely.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah,
because
I think
if there is, you're definitely going to hear "let me out" or something from your fucking pad. That's definitely going to happen. And it'll probably go, "Let me out, I'm on the left," and you can feel it running over to the left.
Oh, yeah, you can feel the weight.
Right
yeah, feel the weight.
I'm in the triggers. Drop the triggers.
No, I think they just beep, don't they? They don't say actual words.
No, they make noises. They don't just beep.
Yeah, they just
remember
but then they go "We're in the triggers, you twat."
They all screamed, didn't they, when you shake the pad on the PS4?
I mean, I thought that was quite fun, actually.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. But okay, all right, cool.
Okay, and then next we had Little Devil Inside, which is another PS5 timed exclusive. So this seems to be an action adventure game that is set inside. It seems to be inside a person. Is that right?
Well,
except you wouldn't know that at all, would you?
Go back and watch it again. I think we just called that completely wrong.
You reckon it's just the way it was cut to make it to sort of imply that.
The only thing that made us think that was when he dropped the bomb and then the guy was doing a poo on a toilet.
Which doesn't really make any sense, does it, when you think about it? What's the...
No, and when you look at the environments, you just think, there's a sun up there. How does that work?
Maybe it's a metaphor, Dave.
Yeah, I think we were wrong there.
Maybe.
I don't know. I mean, I think we were right.
Okay,
so
could be.
Interesting thing about this game. So obviously, I mean, this was new to me. I assume it was to all of you guys. So I went looking for the trailer after the PS5 thing, and there's trailers going back 5 years for this, and it was kickstarted years ago. And Joe Scrabbles was tweeting about it. One of the Kickstarter goals that they met was to produce a Wii U version. So yeah,
get the crazy world of game development. So I mean, this looked fantastic.
It did,
right? But
really interesting. Yeah,
there was a little bit of controversy after, wasn't there, James?
Yeah. So now what's happened is the developers have apologised for racist stereotypes in the launch trailer. So Neostream Interactive, who are developing it, have said that they weren't intending to reference any real African or African American human tribes. And I mean, the quote is, they said, "Racist stereotypes of any kind were absolutely not intended. We were not aware of the stereotypical connotations and wish to apologise to anyone who may have been offended by the character design. In addition, no one, not just limited to the team members, have ever commented or hinted on the character designs. However, those characters have not been revealed publicly elsewhere prior to the event." So the studio has now confirmed that it's going to remove dreadlocks, change what they're calling the bold lips and skin tone, and tweak the dart blower so it looks less like a joint. That was what they said, and they said regardless of our intentions, if any people were offended in any way, we sincerely apologise. On a minor note, this is our first game title, and we are still quite naive in many areas. As always, we thank you for your support.
I thought they handled that really well.
Yeah, I think the response is and and it just proves that I think it was right to be pointed out to them, and I think it was an excellent response, and it just highlights why this stuff needs to be. People need to be so vocal about this stuff because clearly this development studio didn't realise what their character design was problematic. But yeah, I mean, a great response and as I say, it was right to be pointed out. So they handled that really well. For a studio that's putting out their first game to come out with a response like that it's not bad, is it?
I mean, there's people with actual PR managers who would fuck this up. So yeah.
And you could argue that it shouldn't be in the game in the first place, and I understand that argument. But what I would say is that some people don't see things in the same way as other people. The intention there is, hopefully, certainly going by that statement, the intention isn't there to reflect what you see it as. And then hopefully this is just a good resolution to,
exactly, like
the response
to be able to just sort of hold your hands up and just say, look, regardless of intent, if it's going to ruin the game for you, then it's no harm to change it. It's So
away from that, I thought the game looked great. At some points, it had what I thought was like quite realistic graphics. I think there might be like a forest scene in that video. So it looked amazing, and then other bits are incredibly stylized.
Yeah,
the characters
it switched
themselves
it up
have like big
constantly,
eyes
didn't
and
it?
quite stylized. So I'm interested to know whether that, if we are going on the assumption it is inside someone's body, what does that mean for very stylized or very realistic bits? It looked great. I'm really interested to know what it's like.
I think it was the most exciting game they showed.
Yeah.
That's not to say it's going to be a banger, but I think it was probably.
You don't mean that.
Is that what's coming next?
No, one after that.
Okay, all right. What's next, James?
The next one's a big deal. I mean, it's NBA 2K21.
Okay, and what's after
that?
Let's go. He's put in the notes. It's a basketball game coming out this year.
What else am I supposed to say? Just, got to say something.
I will say that, though. I was expecting to get blown away by the visuals in that trailer, and
it wasn't, was it?
Didn't do anything for me, did it?
Yeah.
I mean, it was all set outside. The best thing about basketball games is that they can get a tight... like the audience always looks way better in basketball games than it does other sports games. But my word, it did not show any of that. So it was a weird trailer. Very strange trailer. Right, okay, let's get to the main event.
Okay, so then they show this game called... Okay, it's from the creators of Octodad, Young Horses, and it's called Bug Snacks.
Bug Snacks.
Coming
best
2020.
Song of the show. The song is unbelievable.
Oh my god, it was like... It's... Bug Snacks. There's a line in it where it goes... Oh, fuck. What? I've got to listen to it. Go on, you chat.
Yeah, Bug Snacks. Go on, James, tell us more.
So it's set in an open world, and it allows players to capture and tame creatures who resemble a combination of snack food items and insects. So it's like you're like collecting stuff, but then also eating it and things, and it looked really weird.
It kind of reminded me of Viva Pinata-ish.
Yeah, except this didn't
Have you played Viva Pinata?
No, but I got the impression of capturing bugs and changing. That was the vibe I got from it. Who knows how it plays.
I am listening to it. Sorry if you're hearing the Bug Snacks theme tune in the back.
Share with the class, Dave.
That's it. That's the bit where it does. That's the bit where I think it does it next. It does the most irritating thing that I hear in things like this. Right?
I love it.
I'll talk about Bug Snacks. Just the lines in it. Right. Okay. So this isn't a prediction. This isn't a theory. But you know the bit at the end where it goes all dark and then one of this weird character runs at the screen?
Yeah.
The only hope that I'm clinging on to this game actually being excellent is that this is a complete misdirection, this trailer. And that it's actually something completely different.
Okay.
Of course not.
It's like a what do you call it? What was that game that came like Frog Fractions type thing? Where it's like you see all this, and then you discover actually the game is nothing to do with eating snacks that change your arms into different things. And actually, it's like there's a lot of comments going around on Twitter and stuff saying, I think this might genuinely be like a horror game. And this is the first view is this really overblown, oh, hey, come down, and like these crap jokes and everything. But actually, it's horrific. So I like that theory.
Yeah, it's possible.
I'd love it. I'd love it to be the case, because how often do games do anything like that? It'd be great if it turns out to be just like absolutely really special, and we can all look back on this trailer and go, they were fucking around. Because really, if they're not, that game is in trouble.
Is it? Because because this is from the creators of Octodad. Where did we land on Octodad in the end? I never actually played it.
I did.
I assume the joke wore thin fairly quickly, but to be fair, it was like it was a pioneer of the you can't actually control the character very well genre.
Yeah.
But also, I think we're thinking the wrong. If the thing is also with this game and also with Octodad is it's the target audience is I don't think is us, because I did not particularly enjoy Octodad that much. I thought the joke did wear thin, and it was it wasn't funny that it controlled terribly. My daughter absolutely loved it, and she plays it still sometimes. Like, I saw her playing it again the other day. She thinks it's really funny and loved it. And I'm just wondering whether this is going to be a similar kind of thing where it's like, to us this looks horrific, but maybe to other children it doesn't.
I don't know, man. I'm pretty sure I could show Harry that trailer and he'd go, what the fuck? Like, honestly, I can't imagine him liking the look of this at all.
I'm genuinely thinking whether we should start a Bugsnax podcast.
That's true. Getting on the ground floor. No one else has
every
thought of it
week. Yeah, it will be the premier Bugsnax pod on iTunes.
We've already got a theme.
Welcome to the Bugsnax. Can we do that? Can we do a Bugsnax?
Bugsnax special.
Can we do like one? I'll put on iTunes to do one episode, make it real professional, and see what happens.
That would be
amazing.
amazing.
We're the only Bugsnax podcast on the web.
What? Do it completely seriously?
Yes.
But what if...
where we break down the trailer? Welcome to the Bugsnax podcast.
But what if...
like next week we'll say, we're going to talk about all the characters, all the lore, all the stories, what's happening, what's going to happen in the Bugsnax world. Yeah.
But just imagine, stay with me here, what if the game actually turned out to be brilliant and we do one episode of the Bugsnax podcast and by the end of it we're like, I haven't said everything I need to say about Bugsnax. We need to do another episode.
We look at our figures, and we've got 400 million downloads of the Bugsnax podcast.
We're doing a deep dive.
It's blown up.
A deep dive into Bugsnax.
Or what if it turns out it was a switcheroo trailer, and it is like a really deep horror game or whatever, and we spend the whole rest of the podcast getting furious about the fact, just going, "Where's our original Bugsnax thing?"
Oh, that'd be so good, because if we're like, all like say like the branding and like the iTunes art looks, like Bugsnaxy and like colourful stuff, and then a month or two later we change all of it so it's like red and black and blood and stuff.
Yeah, and then we start that show by going, just to let you know, yes, we're called BS now, but the Bugsnax is still called the Bugsnax podcast. But we're BS.
BS Co.
All right?
We're Busco.
Yeah. What we would say is that this is all BS, and I think we could all agree that it's all BS now. Okay.
Yeah. Bugsnax, the official pod's coming very soon.
I mean, go and watch the trailer if you haven't. It's weird. It doesn't show. I mean, the visuals look terrible. The voice acting was terrible. The jokes were terrible.
I mean, it looked like Mr. Crab, didn't it? Like the visual quality. It looked like an iOS game. From like a while ago.
It did. Very strange. Very strange. And that's why I'm clinging on to that hope that this is a switcheroo of a trailer. I really am. I'm going to be wrong and disappointed. But
I hope it's really good. And I'm determined to enjoy it now because you've all been mean about it.
I hope it's good too.
Why have you got Phil good? You've got to defend it. What's up with that?
I don't feel like I know enough either way. You're right, it doesn't look amazing. I don't feel like I really know what it is to say either way. But obviously,
You know what you need to do, Sean?
Game of the year,
You know what
doesn't
you
he?
need to do? Subscribe to the Bug Stacks podcast
mailing list
on iTunes and Spotify. Get on there. Get on there.
The patron's coming next week. Sean's going
I'm
to
going to go full
Patreon.
nails on that, mate. I can't wait.
Full bugs.
Full Nels.
You'll go full bugs.
Right.
Okay, all right. Next was a big surprise, wasn't it, James?
Yeah, well, it's not really,
I mean,
is
was
it?
it?
I mean,
No?
everyone knew this was coming, but it's.
No, it's
I mean,
massively leaked.
this is Demon Souls.
Oh, was this leaked beforehand?
Yeah, Evan knew
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's no release date set, but obviously exclusive to PS5, and people were probably quite happy about it, I guess. I mean, it's a game I'm never going to play, but I'm sure other people will be really happy with it.
Matt has to play it.
Oh, I'm definitely going to
100%.
play it, yeah. I mean, I haven't played this, and yeah, it's another Souls game, and I'm interested to know what the first one was like. Looked great. Yeah, I'm definitely 100%
The
playing this.
comparison shots looked fucking incredible. that were coming out.
Like some people apparently have been snippy about the fact that they've changed the visual style. Like, come on, man! It's clearly
Yeah, I
better.
mean, if there's one thing you don't want to cling on to, it's the visual style of Demon Souls. I've not played the game, but just looking at it, fuck me.
Pretty drab. I mean, I know that's the point. It's supposed to be miserable, but yeah, Christ, I thought the comparison shots looked amazing.
Yeah, it really did.
I mean, probably won't bother. But glad it's being done. I know, fans have been asking for it for a long time. So, and obviously, it came out. Obviously, it did well enough by itself, but obviously, it really kicked off the whole Souls thing. But most people only got into that when Dark Souls appeared. So I think this is going to be interesting.
Yeah, it's a big game. Big
I
game.
heard some people
for sure.
talk about potentially like them having to change the controls. I would assume, obviously, when it came out, obviously, things like Sekiro and other games have like a better control scheme, or it's more fluid. So I wonder if they will change that.
People start shrieking and sending death threats if they dare change anything about their beloved game. It'd be interesting.
Oh man, I'd love them to then announce that it's got a difficulty mode. Like you can put it on easy. I'd love that.
If it's got an easy difficulty mode,
Imagine
I'll
that.
buy it, even if I don't have the fucking console. I'll just be like, yep, can't wait.
Next
I'll put it
one.
on story mode.
Yeah, mate.
Okay, then we saw Deathloop. This is Arcane Studios. This is another timed PS5 exclusive. This is Arcane, but this wasn't shown at the Bethesda thing last year as well.
Yes, published by Bethesda, yeah.
Yeah.
Strange one, isn't it? Because it's like, I mean, it looks like a Dishonored, but the art style didn't do enough to make me sit up and take notice.
I feel like I'm missing something,
really
right?
odd.
Because the hook of it is, you do a bit of the level, and when you die, it loops back to the start, and you have to do it again. And I'm like, yeah? Have you played a computer game before? Like what? I feel like there's something I'm not getting. It's by Arcane, right? I will probably like it. I feel like the central hook hasn't been explained particularly well.
I mean, I see what you're saying, Sean, but when you think of Outer Wilds, that's what that is. But it does interesting things.
Yeah,
with
it works
that
with
loop.
that in really interesting ways.
Yeah. So I guess it'd be more like that.
I
than
want
it would
basically
just
someone's going to shout at me, but wasn't it like a Metroidvania or like a side-scrolling game whereby you kept trying it and every time you died, and eventually the one you completed that run, that was like it showed you a replay of you going from start to finish, and that was like
that's Katana
almost like
Zero.
all the deaths. What was that one?
Yeah,
sorry?
it was Katana Zero. Yeah, I did that.
Yeah, so maybe it's that sort of thing. Like it says here, like there's 8 targets across the map, and if you leave one, you got to redo it. And it's probably like just, I assume, getting the perfect run. And
Okay,
it looks okay. I mean, it definitely had like a Tarantino movie vibe. I think from the trailer at least.
Really?
Yeah, it's all
I
like
didn't pick up on that.
oh, definitely. It's all like old like 60s. Yeah, like yeah, definitely. I thought it was definitely leaning on that sort of vibe.
Okay.
Right. Sorry. So I'm just looking at James's notes. Right. So there's another assassin that can be player controlled and has to take out the normal player character.
First one, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That's interesting.
Which you can
If you do multiplayer, yeah.
if you want to, you can do that, but you don't have to. You don't have to have
Right.
people coming into your game or not.
Yeah. Okay.
I've never played a Dishonored game.
They're
What
dreadful,
is-
Matt. Don't bother.
They're not. They're good.
I was joking.
Okay. Sorry.
It's the running joke, isn't it, that James hates them? Because
Gagman.
but do you not know the background to this?
No, I don't think I
we
do.
weren't doing the computer show, do we? We weren't doing the computer game show when
It was
when
Jordan
computer
on
show?
at that time.
You know what I mean? You change the name every week, Matt. It's hard to keep up.
Computershow.co.
Yeah. You weren't with us then, because it was during the Joypod days, right?
It was, yeah.
Okay, right. So if you've not heard this story, very early, I mean, it was before Dishonored come out. We went to see a Dishonored presentation at EGX, or back then I think it was just the Eurogamer Expo. It's called, and I think it was me, Matt, and James went to see it, and they showed this demonstration, and it was incredible. They were showing so much cool stuff that you could do with the various different power-ups that you get in that game. And we walked out, and Matt and I were like, oh my god, that's going to be amazing. Look how fun that was. That looks so cool. They walked you through a level like 3 times and showed you 3 different ways of completing that level. You know, you're going in, swiping your sword and killing everyone, going in silently, and then there was another option where you avoided the mission objective completely and stuff. And then James walked out and just went, fucking hell, that was awful. And Matt and I were like, what? He said, well, Dave, tell me one thing that game does that we've not seen before in games. And I went, James, at one point, he this guy ran out, shot a gun at you, he froze time, the bullet stopped in midair, he then possessed the shooter, walked him in front of the bullet, jumped out of him, released time, so he shot himself in the head. That was amazing. Nah, I'm pretty sure that's been done before. So from then on, right, we said that this James hates Dishonored, and even after he played it and said it was brilliant, right, the running joke was that he absolutely hates Dishonored. Do you remember, James? You really hated Dishonored. I didn't hate Dishonored. I just didn't like the presentation. It was so funny. And now he's just given up every time we say it, so it's become like a running joke on the show. This, however, I must admit, didn't do much for me, but we don't know enough about it. It's the first trailer, so let's see how that.
What's the shooting or combat like in Dishonored games?
Well, the combat's
good.
The combat's pretty good, but it's melee combat mainly, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh right,
yeah, because
power ups and all that kind of thing, and yeah,
it's all sword and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, because Arcane did Dark Messiah of Might and Magic years ago, and that was like the first time everyone went, "Oh my god, someone's done good first-person melee combat."
Yeah.
So they've sort of been known
even
for
then, James was like,
rubbish.
It's been done before.
It's grim as fuck, though, isn't it? The way, you get really close to their neck, and then the knife slowly goes into their neck. Yeah, I remember that being a bit like, whoa, well done. But there you go. Okay, cool.
Then we had Resident Evil Village, which is coming 2021. I mean,
fucking hell.
Yeah.
You want a game that made next gen look good visually. Mm-hmm. That was it. The shot from behind one of the characters in the hut as the lights were beaming through the windows was like, whoa, here we go. Now we're talking. But yeah, I mean, I will not have the bottle to play this game.
It looked a bit more Resi 4 than the recent ones, right?
It really reminded me of Resi 4 because you had the sort of old style clothing, and I mean, like it's a hut in the woods, and that's pretty much how Resi 4 starts, isn't it?
When we first saw that, I mean, I don't know if you as well, Dave, but I was like, hang on, is this God of War? Because that looked like the same hut, didn't it?
Yeah, it did, yeah. We were all saying that, weren't we? It was, well, Matt and I were saying that it very much looked God of War at the start. But then, what gave it away in the end? There was a gun in it, wasn't there?
Yeah, there's the Umbrella logo.
War, Oh yeah.
Where it said Resident Evil, I was like, hang on, guys.
that would have been cool, though.
Not be God of War.
Imagine if that had been like God of War, but set now. And it's like, this is weird.
Why do you want everything set now? Why is that your thing?
No, because imagine if you got like Kratos or whatever.
Working in data entry.
Kratos in a suit.
Kratos on furlough.
Yeah.
Kratos commuting.
He's sitting there in his jeans, like in front of the TV. It'd be brilliant.
Ringing up Woucher saying, "Where are my masks? I ordered these 3 weeks ago, and I need them to get on the tube." While his son is mouthing off in the corner about being a god.
Axe. So this is a sequel to 7, is that correct, James?
That is not entirely clear. The only thing I got from that was that Chris Redfield looks like he's going to be a villain in this one, which people seemed excited about.
I've seen people tweeting about this. What was the clue?
Well, the way he shot that
He
woman.
turned around and shot someone.
Yeah.
Yeah, shot someone dead.
It might have been
Seems fine by
someone
me.
he knew was going to be a zombie. Probably.
Sean's
I mean,
sitting there with his arms
potentially,
folded,
yeah.
watching that, going, he had his reasons.
Yeah, good on him.
He was a bad man. Yeah, so you play as Ethan. Again, I haven't played 7, but Ethan is the main character in 7, correct, James?
It's a good name.
Yeah. 7 was Seven was great. I don't know if this is like a direct like sequel to that though, or whether it's going more in the Umbrella way again.
But you do play as Ethan, didn't you? Same person, so...
Yeah.
There was a
so.
reference to Umbrella in the trailer, wasn't there? There was like a box.
Yeah.
With
Yeah, there's a logo,
on
yeah.
it.
I'm
a big fan.
This
Just
makes me want
things
to play
like that.
Resident Evil 7. Even though I'm terrified of it and I wouldn't do VR, but just seeing that, I was like, oh, well, maybe I'll do is play 7.
You should play
No,
7,
you
Matt.
gotta-
If you
yeah,
don't,
I mean, you should
if you
do
don't-
7.
It's no more scary than the other ones in non-VR. In VR, it's horrendous, but in regular,
Yeah, I would never do that.
2D, it's fine.
Yeah, I'm definitely way more tempted now unknown that this leads on, and this is out 2021, so I've got time to get through 7. Excited for a new Resident Evil. See, and it is first person as well, isn't it? So that they confirm
Is
that
it?
it's remaining first person.
Isn't it nice? Like, even don't play horror games. Isn't it just nice that Resident Evil is back? Like,
Yeah,
5
it's
was
great.
kind of shit. 6 was really shit, and it just felt like just leave it now. You've done too many of them. It's it's no point. And then 7 was just like a brilliant reinvention. The remake of 2 was amazing, and it's just And then this looks really interesting again. So. Good.
It is,
the
but how
trouble
long
is-
before it gets a bit like, oh God, another one?
I mean, maybe.
See,
Yeah.
Not another one.
I still think that it was 4 that kind of started to ruin Resident Evil, actually. I know that 4 is really
James,
good, and
what?
everyone... No, just hear me out, okay? I know 4 is really good, and it is a very good game, but it set it on the much more of an action route than it had been before. And
Yeah,
that's
no,
how
that's
you
fair.
end up with Resident Evil 5 and Resident Evil 6, because of that. Whereas it's been nice that they've kind of gone back to the original, what I felt Resident Evil was. It's a horror game.
Yeah, well,
It's
because
like
6 just had this full-on identity crisis, didn't it? And then it was like certain characters you played as, it was just a third-person shooter, and then others tried to be more classic Resi, whereas, then 7 just went, no, fuck off, this is what it is now.
Yeah.
Deal with it, and and it worked.
I'm talking about bugs next. What was next?
Then we got, is it Pragmata or Pragmata?
Oh,
I don't know.
what was
I
this?
mean, this was the Hideo Kojima game that wasn't a Hideo Kojima game, wasn't it?
So this
Alright,
is
Siri.
this is Capcom.
Chill out.
It's supposed to be coming 2022. But yeah, it's
This looked
What is it?
fucking great.
I mean, we
I
don't
don't
know
know.
anything, do we? It was a cool
I don't
cutscene,
know.
but yeah, it was very entertaining, if nothing else.
Yeah, smashing through the ceiling like a Truman Show, and then straight onto the moon. How was she breathing? Who knows? Who cares? If this had Hideo Kojima's name on the end of it, people would be going nuts.
Oh, God, yeah.
Nuts.
100%.
Like,
Put a bit of David
seriously,
Bowie on
this-
it, you'd be laughing. But yeah, no, yeah.
What if Hideo Kojima just say that was his game? The trailer was exactly the same. His name come at the end, but it had the bug snacks sort of over the top of it.
Do you think
can't
Kojima
know
saw
that.
that trailer
Perfect
and was
build.
tempted to just phone him up and just say $20,000 and I'll put my name on it?
yeah, definitely. But yeah, I mean, we're talking 2022 here.
Yep.
Jesus, long way away, long way away. So fine. And they ended with James. What did they end with?
with Horizon Forbidden West.
When did this? I mean, did they put a date on this?
No,
I can't remember.
there's still no release date on this. Yeah.
So they don't know whether. I think they're probably aiming for launch, right?
I doubt it. I'd be
I
very
think they would have
surprised if
said
this comes to
2020
launch.
if that was the case.
yeah,
surely.
they would have announced it as
Yeah.
2020, wouldn't they? But
I mean, it would be like a killer launch game to have. And
yeah, of course.
that's why I
yeah.
just can't see it happening because they.
Yeah,
they
I mean,
would've-
it looks wonderful. I mean, again, if you watch these in 4K, it
Yeah,
really
it
does
looks unbelievable.
make a massive difference. It looks incredible, but I'm really surprised that this game is shot up to be a massive sort of pillar in Sony's arsenal. if
Why?
you know what I mean,
It sold really well, and
it sold really
and
well, yeah, but it's like
reviewed
that was
really well.
the first game. But we gave all right. Between us, we gave it a pretty lukewarm reception when that game came out, if I remember correctly.
I don't know.
Was I off the show then? Can't remember.
I think you didn't want to play it because Breath of the Wild had come out. I can't remember if you played that game.
That was the big problem. It's because it came out at almost exactly the same sort of time as Breath of the Wild, and everyone was just playing that instead. That's why.
I mean, what I'm saying is that I really, really liked it, and I'm definitely interested in the sequel. But there seems to be like all of a sudden this massive like Horizon Zero Dawn was amazing, and this one, and I was like, okay, right, it's fine. I just guess I was surprised that it had the reach and excitement that it did. Really, I mean, I'm not talking about on release of this trailer. I mean, building up to it. Mm-hmm. Everyone expected this game to be the big showpiece, and it's exciting that it is. And certainly what they've done with the environment, because there's always that risk that they were going to do a very similar looking game to the last one, but it looks like things have moved on now and nature's started to return, and that makes a huge difference to the world. If you remember that first game, that's going to make a big difference to things.
Yeah.
So and the plot looks interesting as well. If I'm right, nature's returned, but so has disease.
Yeah,
has returned in a big way, and it's affecting everything. So yeah. It looks like maybe not. Maybe the robot enemies are not going to be like such a huge focus on fighting those things this time round. And
see, I'm quite hopeful of this with the story and stuff, because the story for Zero Dawn was like one of the good things about that game. They did a really good job with that, with the story in that. So I'm hopeful for this, that it's going to be something interesting.
Cool.
I found it interesting. It wasn't Horizon Zero Dawn 2. It was just Horizon Forbidden West, and I was like, "Okay, it's a full sequel." But
no.
The first one isn't Horizon : Zero Dawn. It's just Horizon Zero Dawn.
Well, they couldn't call it that because it's because of the first game. Like, it's because of what happens in the first game. It makes sense they're calling it something different.
Okay.
They did an Xbox. It's Horizon Series X.
It's just Horizon.
They've got full Xbox. So the series is now called Horizon.
Yeah.
And then, so there will be other Horizons.
Because I was saying during the live talks, I was like, hey, it doesn't have a 2 on it. And then everyone said, no, it does. There's a 2 in the icon, but it's not called Horizon 2 Forbidden West. It's just Horizon Forbidden West, but there is there's 2 lines.
I mean, Resident Evil Village, I guess, is the other thing, isn't it? It's that had a 7 in the village. So, so I guess that works.
7 in the village, yeah.
They totally had a 7 in the village. They've got to come up with a bunch of titles for Resident Evil that have an X at the start soon. So that's going to be a problem for them, isn't it?
Go everyone and get XX?
It's going to be a problem for them. Right, should we get to the main thing?
Okay. So then we had the thing that I throughout the whole thing they've been kind of teasing this, hadn't they? That there was going to be some sort of hardware reveal.
I mean, because when you compare the actual hardware trailer, it didn't reflect much of what was going on in between, did it? Because the other one, the sort of idents in between were very much like blocky, square things emerging, and then we had this weird
blue
bead dance.
Yeah.
I think is the only way that I could describe it. For the trailer of the reveal of the hardware, I mean, go to YouTube, skim to that bit on our YouTube video, and watch our live reactions. What's amazing about it is that I was a few seconds ahead of everyone else, then Matt was, then James caught up, and then Sean was the last to see it, which was what people were watching on our stream. And I mean, we all pretty much agree that the design is fucking awful, right?
Yeah, so it comes in 2 configurations. There's PS5 and PS5 Digital Edition. The digital one obviously doesn't have the HD Blu-ray drive or whatever. There's no price or release date yet, and they also showed like a PS5 camera, headset, charging station for the controllers, and a media remote and stuff. But yeah, it looks dreadful. Let's be honest.
Okay, right. Can I just get a few caveats out there before we go into this? Right. Ultimately, what the box like,
it doesn't matter.
What the box looks like does not matter. It doesn't matter if they've made it so that it runs quietly and it's powerful. That's all I care about. But we are seeing the console for the first time. We are going to pass judgment on whether we think it looks good or not. It looks fucking awful, awful.
And like, to be clear, obviously, months ago when people were getting excited about seeing the box for the first time, and I was like, spoilers, guys, it's going to be a fucking black box. What's wrong with you? Fair enough, you got me. Like, no one saw this coming, so it is certainly bold, if nothing else. And I do appreciate that, but I don't like it.
No, well, this is it, Sean. Like, when it comes to technology, the design that people seem to appreciate, and certainly the design that people seem to aim for, companies seem to aim for, is how can we take all this powerful technology and make it as compact as humanly possible, right? You look at phones, you look at, laptops, you look at TVs, you look at consoles. They try and make it as compact, solid is the word, or whatever. Now, I'm not against a company trying to go against that trend and saying, actually, we've got more space to play with if we allow ourselves to have more space to play with here, and we can do something with it. We can do something different. But I don't think extending flaps of plastic out at the end is worthy enough of going against that
little bat is
sort of trend.
You know what this is, don't you? This is similar to kind of... Okay, bear with me here. The original Xbox One that came out looked dreadful, but was massive, and it was like very... It felt like... I always felt like they created it like that to avoid there being any chance of any red ring of death kind of issues with that console. Make it as massive as possible. There'd be no airflow problems or anything like that.
Yeah.
This feels to me a little bit the same, in the sense that everyone's been criticising them for so long now about how loud PlayStations get and everything. This is massive, maybe because they're trying to do the same thing of avoiding it making any sound.
Yeah, I read that exact opinion somewhere. Oh, yeah, it was in the WhatsApp group when I put it in there, James.
Was it?
Cheers,
I don't
mate.
remember you saying that.
Yeah, let her in the post. I'll find it for you. That's absolutely shocking behaviour from you there, James. But fine, nicking my idea, nicking my commentary. I think that could be the case. I certainly do think that there was overheating issues in the PS4 and the PS4 Pro. So I think they had to make it big, but that, it's made even bigger by extending plastic out for literally no reason.
Yeah.
That's a design choice, that's a visual choice, and I think it's a bad one. The way they've integrated the disk drive into it is just unbelievably
It looks
bad.
like an afterthought, doesn't it? They've just we've got to stick one of those in.
It really looks like they've... Yeah, it looks like they've shoved it in and then just pasted over the top of it, with some plaster or something. It's absolutely bizarre. And as you say, if you're going for a unique look, it needs to be a completely unique look. 99% of people that look at that console think, that's a router. And yes, American listeners, we call it a router over here. Sorry about that. We call it a router. Don't laugh at us. We're just different, all right? we're
also
all
correct.
mates here. There's a Mario. It's just... Look, as I say, it's not important. That's not what you buy a console for, and how it looks. And, there's a lot of people saying, well, they need to make it big to deal with the heating issues. You need to look at the One X. The One X is silent, and it is so beautifully compact.
No, but Dave, you can't compare them.
It looks lovely.
You can't compare them though, because they're not the same though, are they? It's well,
no, of course they're not.
In the terms of whatever power they've got, either they're not the same at all. So you can't.
Okay, but then can you say you compare the PS5 and the Series X?
Yes, you can. But then we don't know. But we don't know how the
Series
Series
X is
performs.
half the size.
But we don't know how that performs yet, do we? Maybe that's going to have red ring problems. We have no idea yet.
No, but we do know that the One X has a special cooling system, right? It's like a bespoke, complete. It's not just like fans and.
Do you mean Series X?
No, the One X. The One X has that big metal. That's why it's so fucking heavy, right? It's got that special cooling system. Yeah, I mean, look it up. I'm pretty sure it's got this weird, big metal, heavy cooling system that sits over the processor of the One X, and that's why it can be so small.
But again, they're not comparable though.
No, you're absolutely right. But what I'm saying is that when you look at the Series X, if there's been a lot of scaling up of the machine based on the disk drive and the USB ports on it, and comparably speaking, it looks fucking humongous, like bigger than the PS3, bigger than the original Xbox One, that big. Although it is also important to note that we have not seen the PS5 officially yet. This was a 3D render, right? So, I mean, it might be one of those devices that once you see it in the flesh, it actually looks way better. We've always, that's always the case with 3D renders. They can look artificial enough to just really just look odd and make things look worse. Don't think that's going to be the case, but I mean, that's possible. But when you compare it, if you were to compare it, and those scales were correct, James, when you do compare it to the Series X, you're thinking, how can it, if there was a few inches difference, you go, okay, right, I get it, but it looks like half the fucking size. You know what I mean?
So, I mean, my problem is, like, if it is that big, and, all right, we don't know for certain, but if it is, I look like the shelves I've got, I sincerely don't know where I'd put it. Like, I have got no room for it. There isn't a shelf where it would fit at the moment. I would have to make room for it somehow. And that's...
You get the foundations put in.
That's true, when you can tell me exactly what measurement I need.
It's a shame. It's I think right. The biggest problem about the design, because I think if you ignore the fact that, okay, you don't like the look of it, I think ultimately by the time Christmas comes around, you'll be used to it. And it ain't going to be a big deal. I think it'll always be a running joke. It'll be a butt of a lot of jokes, even when the machine's out. But I think ultimately it's not too damaging once the machine is out there and by the time it's being released. I think the biggest damage it's done is that looking back over the games that Sony had shown, they'd shown some really good stuff. They'd shown a variety of stuff, and there was a lot of games there to be interested in, if not excited about, very interested in. And this design has completely overshadowed, certainly in the places I've looked.
Yeah. But that's the thing, because
it's completely overshadowed that stuff.
It depends on who you read and like who you listen to and stuff, because most of the podcasts and stuff I've listened to with this, people don't seem that bothered, to be honest. Like, it's not...
I don't know. Most of the ones I've listened to have taken the piss out of it for about 20 minutes, so... yeah, no, I mean, ultimately on websites and stuff, that seems to be the story that people are focusing on. I mean, even on the BBC website the next day, the story, the PS5 was on the front page. You click on the article and it's all about what gamers thought of the looks. You know what I mean? It wasn't talking about the games it was producing, which is, yeah, it's a bit of a shame, really.
I mean, it's still people talking about it, but as you say, when it just overshadows 90% of the rest of the presentation.
Well, the positive stuff that comes out of that presentation. Because the other thing that we haven't really spoken about yet is that, fucking hell, Sony have improved the way they present these things. Like, that presentation throughout the whole thing was brilliant.
It made the Microsoft one the other week look very shit, didn't it, in comparison? I mean, not in terms of the content, but just like I say, the way it was presented and the interviews with devs and publishers and stuff was all really slick and really professional. I guess they had more time to plan for that stuff, whereas Microsoft were like, "Oh shit, who's got a webcam?"
Again, Microsoft one was an inside Xbox thing. I don't think that's it will be interesting to see how they present their thing next month. I think it will be wildly different. But what I'll say is that when you compare it to other times that Sony have tried to do these sort of things, they've never really found a place with it. And I felt that this was different enough from a Nintendo Direct to feel uniquely Sony, and I think it was just perfectly paced. They showed enough gameplay, they showed enough trailers, they had nice little segments with the developers talking. I thought it was really, really well done. But fuck me, does that box look weird? You haven't really said much.
Oh, okay.
No, go James.
No, because the other thing I wanted to talk about with this is the fact that they didn't announce a price with this, obviously, but there are like two versions of it, which means that they are going to come in at two different prices. My question about this is who is going to win our bet, Matt? If like the digital one comes in lower than the Series X, but then the regular PS5 comes out more expensive than the
Nah,
Series
you're trying
X.
to jump the gun, mate. You're trying to jump the
who
gun.
wins in
Let's
that
deal with that.
There's still a lot to play for.
There's still a lot to
you've
play
got to
for.
compare
What if,
like for
what
like,
if Microsoft... Yeah, well, no, hold on. What if Microsoft bring out 2 SKUs next week?
Fuck.
There you go. Yeah, what are you going to do?
We need to wait until closer to launch. We need to wait until closer to launch. Because before we go into the 2 SKUs, and we'll get there, Matt, so yeah, you've been quiet about the look of it and this whole reveal section.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts?
So I was obviously incredibly excited for the whole presentation for them to show the box. And I went from like, are they going to show it? I think they will. I think they won't. And then when we saw the idents, I'm like, hound, is this a clue? Is it going to be like a blue console? And I certainly didn't expect it would look like a router. I mean, I loved the pad. I thought the pad looked class, and I liked how different it looked. And I think even we said at the time, like, well, this is surely a big clue to how the console's going to look. But as much as I love the pad, and as much as I really admire that it's not just another black box, I just don't like the design at all. And I will get used to it, and I'm obviously still incredibly excited to get one, to see it, and so on and so forth. And I'm sure in the flesh it will look better, and after a while you just won't notice it anymore. But I'm just not a fan of the design at all. Really, I think it feels neat. Like the white sort of flat bits feel needless. I mean, I'm sure they're all built for better ventilation and quieter fans and this, that, and the other. I'm sure
flaps.
It's not just. Huh?
You think that's part of the venting?
I think, although it looks silly to us, I'm sure they've done that not just for like a bit of a design flourish, but because for whatever reason that move the airflow around better. Obviously, everyone says that the PS4 is ridiculously loud. You can see like the fans on either side of that black central area of the console, so I would assume it's an airflow thing. I don't like the design, but I'm really happy that it's not just another black box. It's good. Yeah, I like that, but I don't like the design itself.
See, I wish that
was the other thing we haven't really spoken about. Anyone concerned by the amount of lighting that's around the front of that machine?
Yeah, it's going to be like the Wii again, isn't it?
Yeah, just
See,
lighting up the front room.
I wish that there was like an all-black version as well, because I mean, if you've seen, everyone's obviously seen the mock-ups of those.
Yeah, but even
it still doesn't look.
That looks shit.
It still doesn't look great. Like even in all black, it still doesn't look great. But at least it's not as kind of egregiously bright as the white is. It's not so good.
It's not going to stand out as much in the living room.
Yeah.
But yeah,
okay.
Let's talk about the 2 SKUs, because that was the thing. I didn't anticipate them doing 2 SKUs. Obviously, we've talked about.
Really didn't. I thought they'd be the last to do this.
We've talked about Series X and the Series S / Lockhart rumours of their like cheaper potentially digital / streaming box. I didn't anticipate it for this at all, so that was like a huge surprise when like we had like on the video you showed one of them and then it panned out and you saw the second one. I was like, why is there 2? And it's like, that one hasn't got a disc drive. So that was a really big shock and
I mean,
surprise,
it makes sense, though, doesn't it? Like, we've been talking about the fact that we're on this precipice of maybe people going fully digital, maybe not this gen, but maybe the next one. But so just give people the choice. I personally would consider the digital one.
Yeah, it makes sense, and it was also actually it's actually quite promising that Sony are going to do a lot with PS Now and their digital output. I think that's the one thing that I take from that, because if they weren't bringing that, PS Now might have been something again that steadily chugs along in the background. They've got, was it 2 million subscribers or 1.5 million subscribers, something like that. Maybe it's something that they'll just happily have in the background. But I think if you're releasing a digital console, you've really got to push that service, and hopefully they'll put a lot more effort in, not necessarily the service, as we've said. It seems like there's a lot of really good content on there, but actually promoting it and making it something a little bit more worthwhile for Sony subscribers. I think there's a lot of people that are saying, "Oh, yeah, that looks way better. The digital version still doesn't make it look good." I mean, yes, it does look way better without the disc drive just slapped on the side. But come on, but no, I'm really interested to see how these are priced.
Yeah.
They're already laying down the groundwork, aren't they, Sony?
Yeah, this is the
What was
worrying
the quote,
thing, isn't it?
James?
Yeah, so like Jim Ryan, the CEO, has been like saying that they're emphasising value as opposed to price, and that's very worrying when people say that, because that probably means about £600. Like if that's what they're going for.
But it's worth it.
It's very worrying.
Is it? Yeah.
But on the other hand, it seems that I mean, this. Should we go with the story about the analyst who reckons it's going to do really well?
Oh yeah, go on.
Because so this is Ampere Analyst's research director for games, Piers Harding Rolls, and he's released a report like sizing up where he thinks the console market is going to go, and
Could you possibly predict that?
What do you mean? You can predict it, can't you, based on like previous trends and also, you know, who's bought in already and that kind of thing. You can't, Dave. You can't just say you can't predict anything ever, so there's no point in ever predicting anything. That's nonsense.
I never said that. I said, how could you possibly predict that? Like, I'm interested to see what factors, because we know so little about these machines, including price.
Yeah.
That trying to predict that at this stage.
Well, exactly.
seems mad.
You can't obviously make very, very accurate predictions, but you can still make it based on previous generations.
That's the thing. Okay,
Bore him down.
That was the point I was making, James. So go on.
No, it's because any time I ever bring any predictions in, you always kick off with that, like, how could anyone ever know anything? It's just like, you always do that every time.
Sean, can you be the judge here? What happened there?
Honestly, I'm not entirely sure. I feel like
Whatever.
James did eventually agree with you, but is still insisting he isn't. Go on, James. Sorry, what's the story?
So anyway, he's expressed skepticism about the growth of the consoles, because he says that, like, if you look at lifetime sales, like combined sales of like Sony and Microsoft's consoles, they peaked with the original Xbox and the PlayStation 2, and actually it's been like declining ever since then. If you combine like the numbers sold over the other generations, and he reckons that there's going to be another decline with this generation. It probably won't sell as well as the previous ones did. He reckons the PS5 is going to have an installed base of around 66 million by the end of 2024, with the Xbox Series X getting about 37 million. But he thinks that the big difference this time, though, will be that from the beginning, like from the launch period.
Remember the beginning?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Bug snacks.
He reckons that
Talking about bug snacks.
he reckons that actually the PS5 and the Xbox One are going to be a lot closer at launch. Like, he reckons that PS5 will do like around 4.6 million units and 3.3 for Xbox Series X, and yeah, he reckons they're going to hit a price point of around $450 to $500. But I mean, the main reason that he still thinks that Sony's going to will overall probably sell more than Microsoft will is he calls this he says it's the PS5 exclusives, but also this global brand allegiance that there is to PlayStation. I mean, if you look at the number of people that watched that video, it was kind of crazy. It was like 7 million people watching it live, and it's now also like the most watched video like on PlayStation's like YouTube channel like that they've ever put out. There is interest there.
Oh god, yeah. There's a hell of a lot of interest.
I must say, I did not know the thing about the decline in sales after each generation.
Yeah, that does make sense.
Yeah, I thought that was
true.
Really
yeah, I mean, he's got the numbers.
Well, no, because like PS2 sold loads, PS3 sold less, PS4 sold loads again.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean? The combined sales of Sony and Microsoft consoles have consistently declined.
Yeah.
Every
so
generation.
I can give you the numbers because so the original Xbox and PlayStation 2 sold 179 million units combined. The PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 sold 171 million combined, and the PS4 and the Xbox One have sold 157 million combined.
See, that to me is a huge surprise because.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of that either. But that's pretty crazy.
The only thing that I think is a bit weird about this, though, is he's saying that this shows that overall like console ownership is declining. Like it's slowly declining, but it's declining. But he's completely ignoring like Nintendo here, and like you know this.
And plus, and obviously, like mobile games are a thing. So I guess that also sort of explains some of the decline because there'll be a whole sort of more casual market who may have eventually picked up a console who now probably don't need to bother because they've got a phone or an iPad or whatever.
Also, I'd love to know at this point in the generation how like just before the PS4 and the Xbox One come out, how much were the 360 and PS3s going for? Because I mean, they're really still not cheap, are they? These two consoles.
I'm sure that
like an S is what, $250?
Yeah, I'm sure that the Xbox 360 was like not sub £100, but it was very close to that. Like towards
it was very low.
Yeah.
I think that makes a huge difference at the tail end of a generation because, you know, a lot more people they're more likely to go, well, £100 for that Xbox that everyone's got, or the PlayStation everyone's got. I'll get that to play FIFA and this COD game. You know, it's and then people buy multiple machines for households and stuff like that, or replace
when they go players.
When they go that low, you know, people replace the slightly dodgy ones that they've got now. You know, it's so I think that might have a factor to do with it. Who knows? But I mean, I'm expecting this to be like one of the worst launch periods for new consoles of all time.
I mean, it's a bad time, isn't it, to launch an expensive consumer electronics product?
The prices of these launch machines are going to be higher than they normally are in a global recession.
Yeah,
it's not gonna. I don't think it's gonna fly off the shelves initially.
No. But them doing two SKUs is fascinating because obviously, I mean, nothing's been confirmed, but everyone anticipates the PS5 to be, you know, 500, certainly high 400s, potentially even as much as 600. That's what a lot of the rumours and discussion is. But with this now, this different SKU, like they obviously have a lower price point to combat potentially anything that Microsoft might do in terms of a lower price console. But I mean, and I know we've discussed it in the WhatsApp and seen those discussion online, but you think, okay, if they're removing just disk drive, how much does that cost? How much is the difference really going to be? But it has to be sizable.
That's not a reflection of value though, is it?
Because, no, but it has to be sizable to others. What's the point?
Yeah. Yes. And I think that I'm not 100% sure they will, Matt, but I do think they have the potential to make that a sizable difference because they're not just saving money on the disk drive by removing it, they're also pushing people towards the PSN store.
That's true, yeah. They're basically take a cut cutting you off from buying second-hand stuff.
Yeah.
So, second-hand stuff and also from other retailers that take a cut of that money. They are the retailer. They are getting the money that would normally go to the retailer as well by pushing you to the PSN store. So
yeah, I mean, like the Xbox all digital Xbox One S all digital edition was £100. There's £100 difference between that and like the other one.
Okay. Was there?
Do you think it'd be
when it first come out?
I believe so.
Because I thought it wasn't much different, and that's why everyone was like, "What's the point in buying this?"
So it's like £50.
I have to check. I have to check. But I think I heard on another podcast there's quite a big difference. But surely it has to be like £50 plus, like closest. I mean, otherwise you think, well, I might as well spend extra money in the odds, get a disc, I can sell a disc.
Definitely.
Yeah. I think it's got to be more than £50.
I'd say it's got to be like about 100
75
or so.
or 100. Yeah.
Yeah, you're cutting yourself off to swapping games, for example,
or trading them in, or
which is something that they so proudly shouted about at the launch of the PS4.
I reckon it'll be an £80 difference. It'll be like $429 and then $499 or something. But this makes whatever Microsoft are going to do very interesting. I mean, and I didn't anticipate it at all.
So, I mean, Matt, I'm still interested in this at this stage. How are you feeling about it? You're still interested as well, obviously, yeah, Matt?
Interested what, in the console?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, obviously, yeah.
In like buying one when it launches.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Dave, I'm assuming you're not. You're not interested, really.
Not at launch. No. This will be a machine. I think that I'll. I mean, I might not end up with either machine this year. To be quite honest with you,
I won't blame you, especially since you've already got the One X.
Well, yeah, but this is it, isn't it? But the PS5 is the sort of machine. I think I like what you did, James. Basically, left it a couple of years, get it, and then you've got all those great exclusives to just go through.
Yeah.
At that time, because you know the exclusive games that they've got don't feel like day one. Not essential that you play them day one.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. It's like, I mean,
do you know what I mean?
I've played so many of those PS4 games that were exclusives that I've bought for pennies. Like now, like they've cost virtually nothing, and they've been great. But if I'd have paid, like for example, like the Order 1886, if I'd have paid full price for that, I'd have been furious probably. Whereas it cost virtually nothing and it was great.
That's right. But for me, if Halo comes out and it's a banger, not necessarily will be, but say it is a banger, that's a game that you want to be there day one because
but you will
that's
be
the
anyway.
online multiplayer stuff.
But you will be anyway on One X. So
yeah, on the One X. Yeah.
Well, exactly. Yeah. So I might not end up with either of these consoles. I'll probably upgrade to a Series X because I can sell my One X and that'll take a chunk of the money off of it. But the PlayStation, I'm unfortunately, because so many of my mates play on Xbox, that's probably the way I'm going to go. I'll probably end up with a PlayStation. Hopefully, they come out with a revised version of it within a couple of years. So yeah, I'll probably go with that.
Which one would you want to go for? Would you want to go for the one with the drive or the one without? Is the price
I don't know, because
the big factor? My
initial reaction will always be I'll get one with drive because when I buy games I can sell them and that's just something I've always done. But I get a lot less. I rarely get physical games really these days. So I don't know. I mean, I have to see what the price difference is. I mean, I think the digital one definitely looks better, so it's got that going for it. I dare say it'll be cheaper as well. But then, I
was thinking, when was the last time I actually bought a disc game for my PlayStation then remembered, actually this week.
All right.
So, I bought a physical copy of The Last of Us because I know that I'm going to hammer that in a couple of weeks and then just sell it on, make some of the money back.
Yeah, I bought Final Fantasy VII physical. So I'm still doing it, but it's less. It's getting less and less every year. And in 5 years, I wish I'd got the other one. If most things could be digital, I don't know at this point. I don't know if the price is really gonna make a huge difference to me. Yeah, I don't know. I'm still thinking about it. Really, it's interesting. Well, how about you, James? Will you go digital?
Me, no, I probably would. It depending on. I wouldn't even say depending on the price difference because I just think. I prefer to have the flexibility of being able to buy discs as well because you usually can get them significantly cheaper, and then you can also.
What is it? What if it's £100 though?
Yeah, but then you think how many games you'd have to buy to make up that difference. Do you see what I mean? Of savings that you'd make because if games come out on PSN, they usually launch at around £60, don't they? And then whereas you can usually buy them from a independent retailer or whatever for about I don't know, let's say 40, £45 or whatever. That's quite a big difference. Even if you do that for a couple of games, you've already made up that difference. Do you see what I mean?
Well, yeah, and because the other piece of the puzzle is whenever there's a new generation, they do take the piss on game prices for a little bit.
Yes, definitely, yeah.
So
£65 day one or 70.
Yeah.
So
ridiculous.
that could be a factor as well. I mean, personally, I would really consider the digital one because I hardly ever buy. I mean, the last disc game I got for the PS4 was Jedi Fallen Order. Before that, I can't even remember. But I mean, that's me.
That's what's fucking mad, isn't it?
Often, and it's annoying having physical for the rare times I do. So I've been playing obviously tons of Animal Crossing. I've had that on cartridge, and it doesn't matter because I didn't have to put anything else in. And I borrowed Luigi's Mansion, and I know it's stupid thing, but I'm like, oh fuck's sake, where the cartridge upstairs, I'm down and I was playing Animal Crossing. Just one example.
It's mad how the difference that makes, isn't it? I think that's more so with the Switch because the cartridges are so tiny. Yeah. Obviously your PS4 or whatever is always on a shelf. There's probably a shelf near it with all your game boxes on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, with the Switch especially, whatever game is in the Switch will get played a lot, and the games that aren't in it, I can forget about for months. So same with Luigi's Mansion. I'm the same. Because I think I've got Ring Fit Adventure in the Switch at the moment because I know if I take that out, I will never play it again.
It's never going back in.
But yeah, as a result, I've just not touched Luigi's Mansion, which is just insane. Yeah. It's just taking a fucking cartridge out.
It's also one of the best games where you plan at. Yeah, I mean it's nuts.
It is.
I can't. The decision you got to make over that is just. You've really got to think about it, as you say, because if you make the wrong one, you've cut yourself off with a whole.
Yeah, I think ultimately, if you get another one with disc drive,
they started selling separate disc drives that you could just plug into the USB and.
I'll just plug in my
I saw somebody
DVD drive
say
from
that.
Xbox 360, mate. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
I saw somebody say that. Someone was like, "Oh, do you reckon you could plug in like a Blu-ray drive?" And it's like, probably not. I'll be
Can you plug in a Blu-ray drive? Yeah. Well, I'll tell you this, Sean. It was an interesting point you made about Sony. You know, their launch games potentially going to be 60, 70 quid. Microsoft's exclusive launch games are going to be on Game Pass.
Yeah. Well, this is
so
another
weird.
trick they've missed, right? Is like, what if half of these games were like, oh, by the way, this will be on PS Now?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be all of them, but if it was a few heavy hitters, that'd be huge.
Yeah, they need to do something
Or
like
even,
that.
even just within
when we were talking about...
Sorry, Dave.
Sorry. Because when we were talking about that this was going to be a really expensive console, then you're adding the games on top of that at inflated prices. You know, you're going to really be pushing it high. Whereas if you're buying a Series X, you've got your game collection, and all right, the biggest problem with the Series X is that if I bought it this year, I'm not really going to feel like I've got a new console.
Yeah.
Like that's the sad side of it, because you boot it up, you know what it looks like, you know the UI, that's not changing. It's just going to feel, you know, that the games look a little bit better, I guess. Whereas if I was to get a PS5, it'll feel like that new console experience, and that's really
games
cool.
you can only get on that, you can't get
Yeah,
on
exactly,
PS4, so.
exactly. But when you factor in the games that you're buying, the fucking amount of money you're going to spend on a PS5 over next.
Imagine what another pad's going to cost.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ, yeah.
I mean, imagine if what they did was they put a lot of these, you know, some of these games on, like some of their first party stuff on PlayStation Now, just for like 2 or 3 months or whatever at the start of the.
That'd be insane, James. I wouldn't do that.
James, you're gonna not want to reply to that? You just shut down
James
now.
has been
Dead.
fucking
You just shut
obliterated.
down.
He's-
Dead.
No, I
End of the
thought
plot.
someone else
atoms.
was gonna say something. It was so.
No.
Could you
Just
imagine
me.
that? Imagine you've gone out that day. The console's 500 quid. You spent 500 quid. You can afford one game. You spent 70 quid on the game. You've set it all up. You're thinking, fucking hell, 570 quid. This had better be good.
Bugsnax will be the first game on PlayStation Plus in November. Yeah.
Shit.
It's fascinating. I mean, obviously, not now. We're looking forward to looking next to the Microsoft, whatever they showed. This actually gets me more excited for Microsoft show, because the Sony one was so well done, so polished. It was perfect in terms of length. The games were exciting, really good variety. I also wasn't really anticipating there being loads of indie games. So great variety of both AAA and indie. Really well polished. So it's an excellent showing from them. It really gets me excited for what they got. Really fascinated now to see what Microsoft do, how to combat it, what are they going to show, how much are they going to show, what are they going to say. It's all to play for, I think.
I'll tell you what they are
really
going to
is.
show. There's going to be a lot of world exclusive and stuff like that on there once.
Mate, you got to do that more. That's great. Okay, are we done with the PS5?
Yeah, I mean, that was the major thing. I mean, there's been other things this week, haven't there? I mean, Sean, have you got?
Well, did you want to go through the? I mean, we had a few emails about the PS5. Is it worth going through them? Matt?
I think a lot of them we are
We've covered,
I think we've
yeah.
covered. Yeah, I mean,
Okay, cool.
yeah. I guess there's one here from Thomas Lamafla 42. Who do you think will blink first when it comes to price and pre-order announcements for the next gen machines? Phil Spencer's already spoken about a desire to be agile on pricing. So I wonder if Microsoft will hold out till Sony says something.
No, Sony announced it first. I think they're on the verge of announcing it. Like, I really do. I reckon maybe the next 4 to 8 weeks. I reckon.
It's
They'll
mad
let
there's been no
their price
pre-orders. I mean, I'll say that. I pre-ordered both like months ago at Shop 2, so you can technically pre-order these machines at places where you, I guess put your name down, but it's mad there's been like the Amazon listing hasn't gone live or on, Xbox.com or whatever. Surely that's happening very soon, but Microsoft will definitely hold off and do it after Sony. Absolutely.
Yeah, so Sony will announce a PS5 sort of more hardware focused event where they'll go through what the controllers do, what the system does in terms of this new share button and the UI and stuff like that, and then they'll drop their price. I think Microsoft can wait a little bit longer because we all know what the Series X will look like and do. and they'll reveal the price in a different way.
We've got this question as well from Tom Clark. A few other people have asked us this as well. Having seen the PS5 machine and launch lineup in more detail, are you more or less excited than before?
About the same.
Yeah, about the same.
Yeah, I mean, we knew there was going to be great looking games, and we've seen that. Yeah, I can't say there wasn't any like massive megaton surprises to pique my excitement, but yeah, I was saying about the same actually.
Okay, right. We're 2.5 hours in. It's 10 to midnight. Let's get to the news, James.
Yeah, I mean, there is more things that have happened. I mean, Sean, you've got PC gaming stuff or whatever.
Do you want a very quick rundown? Right. So this week we've had. So was this meant to be E3 week? I've completely forgotten.
It is.
Yeah. So there was the PC gaming show, which is run by PC Game Magazine. I think a few other people. There was also the Guerrilla Collective stuff, which is the new face of the Kind of Funny streams that we had the last couple of years, where they showed a lot of indie stuff. And there was also the Future Games show, so that was like Games Radar and a few other places.
And then on Friday there's EA Play.
Yeah. I mean, there's probably been more that I've missed, but okay. I've basically just skimmed all of them because obviously between all of these is about 7 hours worth of footage. But just skimmed them all for some interesting looking stuff. So the PC gaming show, I know I normally defend it. It was pretty dry for me this year. So they had an announcement for Torchlight 3, which if you're into your Diablo style stuff, it's quite a big deal. That basically, that was shown off, and it's now in early access and is available now. So that was quite cool. They showed off the new expansion for Elite Dangerous, which is now getting on foot planet stuff. Like previously, it was you were either in your spaceship or you were in a vehicle, but now there's going to be actual getting out on foot.
Really?
That looked really cool. They showed a game called Among Trees, which is yet another wilderness survival game, but it looks fucking beautiful. And apparently, there's like almost zero peril in it. It's just, it just looks really nice.
How do you make a survival game without peril?
There's no there's nothing trying to kill you. I think it's just about just looking after yourself, building a nice house in the woods, and the
right, okay, yeah.
They also showed another trailer for The Last Campfire. The new one from Hello Games.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that
looked really good.
It still looks really nice. The PC game show, that was pretty much it for me. There was a lot of horror stuff, a lot of fantasy stuff that I wasn't particularly fussed about. The Guerrilla Collective was really good, though. I mean, it was split over 3 days. The first two streams were like pretty intense. They just showed a bunch of stuff. The first day started with there's like a proper remake of System Shock. Which I didn't know was happening. I know that there's been like a remastered version of the original, but this seemed like an actual remake. That looked really cool.
Who's that being done by?
I can't remember. I think it's the people who did.
IP has gone from a bunch of different people, isn't it? Like the companies that went bust and stuff. They're making The Walking Dead.
So that looks really interesting. I've never played the System Shock games, but obviously for those who don't know, they're the precursor to BioShock. So yeah, it's interesting.
But they're horror, aren't they?
You're sorry?
They're horror, aren't they?
They are horror-ish, yeah. Which is probably why I never played them.
They're like pure horror,
but they showed a new trailer for XO1. I don't know if you guys played this at Rezzed a few years ago. It was the one where it was essentially like a 3D Tiny Wings, but you're like this mad spaceship, and there was all this weird story about like you're in this experimental ship and you're this guy just basically blasting through time and universes and stuff and kind of losing your mind. But it's all about, you just got this ship and you kind of steer it left and right and you can just make it heavier and lighter. So you sort of using all the sort of curves in the landscape to sort of slide down and then blast up the other side. And it was great then, and it looks absolutely incredible. Now it's looks like really different. So definitely check that out.
Yeah, it doesn't ring any bells.
It was good. It was really good. What else we got? So there was a new trailer for Baldur's Gate 3. That is actually looking like it's going to be quite a big deal. I'm quite excited.
Well, when's that out? Is that out this year?
I think it's this year, yeah. Or it's like early access. But yeah. So yeah, I think they haven't actually given a date, but soonish. There was they started playing a trailer for Disco Elysium. And I was like, oh, fuck, is it? Oh, it's going to be a date for the console versions. Fuck.
DLC stuff.
Now on the Epic Store. that was the reason they showed that.
Lovely.
There was a new trailer for Fights in Tight Spaces. I don't know if you guys have come across this. It's like a sort of card-based fighting game, but it's like sort of like, so you're a guy having a punch-up with a bunch of other people, and all your cards are like different moves you can do, and that, it looks like really good fun. And then at the end of the first day stream, just sort of got given over to Paradox, the publisher, and it was all stuff I didn't care about. And there was like another hour of Paradox stuff, and I just wasn't really interested.
What stuff have they done in the past?
Sorry?
What stuff have they published in the past?
Paradox, they're really like PC-centric stuff, so like a lot of strategy stuff. I think the main game they were showing off was, is it City of Sin or something? I can't remember. It's like a gangster sim. I basically skipped that. Day 2, they had a longer trailer for Skate Story. Have you guys seen any of this? It's like a
Skate Story.
A new skateboarding game, but it looks basically like a skateboarding game crossed with Rez, I guess. All looks really like mad and surreal, but has like really interesting control system. Definitely check that out. Looks really cool. There was a game called Metal Hellsinger, which basically looks like Doom, but with rhythm action stuff. Like you get points for doing stuff in time with the music, like shooting enemies and stuff.
Okay.
That looks really interesting. I don't know if the gimmick will work across an entire game, but certainly what they showed looked really interesting. There was a game called Star Renegades, which just looked like a JRPG, but with absolutely stunning pixel art and mechs. So I'm in. There was a game called Calico, which, if you wanted to make a game that would just instantly murder Dave, this is it. It's like, it's the most twee, cutesy thing I've ever seen. It opens with a girl riding around like a sort of pastel-coloured forest on a giant cat. There's like nice folk music in the background. You decorate cakes. You're basically running a cafe that is also like an animal shelter. And it just looks like the most unbelievably twee thing I've ever seen. There was a game called Nuts, which appeared to be...
this is an incredible list of games that I'm not interested in. A game, Nuts,
which looked a bit Firewatch, but seemed to be like where you're someone whose job it is to like film squirrels, but it actually seemed like quite amusing. What else have I got? Day 3, there was just one game I wanted to point out. Go on, yeah. What's that?
Was there anything massive?
No.
That was like,
no,
holy shit.
Day 3, there was a game called Say No More, but the exclamation mark is after the word no.
That's relevant.
And it's all about...
Yeah. Speaking of which...
it's a game about working in an office where your weapon is shouting no at people and look really funny. And then the Future Games show was really boring and there wasn't really anything interesting at all.
God, more boring.
Apart from they had Nathan Drake and the listen, mate, when these games are coming out and they're like, oh, this looks really good. What a surprise. We haven't heard about this. I'll link you to this episode. Don't worry about
it. Yeah. When I'm going, this game on the Xbox looks absolutely fantastic. Yeah, it came out on PC 3 years ago.
What, you mean Nuts?
No, I mean Say No More.
Okay, please.
Is that
is it.
Cool. James, right, come on, let's rattle through the news.
Rattle through, there's
We
tons.
might have to leave. Let's get rid of the emails, shall we?
I sort of assumed we were heading that way anyway, but yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, fine. Sorry everyone that emailed in. We'll carry them over to next week.
Yeah, because next week's a quiet week. It's just, it lasted us 2.
God. Yeah, but we ain't going to be able to talk about it much
That's
anyway,
true,
are we?
Well, might not even turn up on time.
I don't mind about it being spoiled, but yeah.
I've got a feeling some of our listeners might, though.
No, but I mean, we can just do a spoiler bit.
Okay, right, okay.
Okay, so in terms of news, Bungie revealed the future of Destiny. This happened obviously before the PS5 news, but this was the big thing for the beginning of the week. There's not going to be a Destiny 3, at least not anytime soon.
Really surprised.
I mean, the current
surprised.
roadmap is like into 2022, isn't it?
Yeah,
and there's no Destiny 3 there yet. So interesting.
Yeah. So they're doing like September 2020 this year. Which is obviously this year. They're doing Beyond Light, which is the first expansion, and then they're going to do in 2021. They're doing The Witch Queen, and then in 2021 The Witch Queen. 2022 they're doing Lightfall, And the argument for this is they've said, I mean, this is what they said. They said Destiny 2 is too large to efficiently update and maintain. The size and complexity of the game are also contributing to more bugs and less innovation. Instead of building a Destiny 3 and leaving Destiny 2 behind, each year we are going to cycle older, less actively played content out of the live game and into what we're calling the Destiny Content Vault. This will allow us to add to and support Destiny 2 for years, including the 3 new annual expansions we announced today, starting with Beyond Light this fall. So what's going to happen is there's a bunch of destinations are going to be gone pretty soon in September. This includes Mars, Io, Titan, Mercury and Leviathan. And then they're going to be adding some new stuff. So we got Europa is coming, Cosmodrome, which is coming from the Vault. It's the Tangled Shore, the Moon, Dreaming City, European Dead Zone, Nessus. That's all still going to be there. So that's good, I guess. Mm-hmm. They're also saying that the stuff that's been vaulted will come back, like they will bring it back at some point, and Destiny 1 content is going to come to the game. So they're going to bring, like, the Vault of Glass.
Wasn't the Cosmodrome from Destiny 1?
I thought it was, yeah.
Yeah. So, right, okay, so a few questions here. Like, firstly, I mean, this is a great sign to say that actually Destiny 2 is doing way better than we might think. Because that's the only justification I can ever think to plough on with Destiny 2 rather than risk it by going for a completely new game.
Yeah, it shows
right?
that, well, suggests that there's just no reason to move on from it yet.
Yeah. Now, I do think that they should have a cut-off point. I do think that they should say, look, if you get the new expansion, then all the other expansions are included with it. You're completely up to date. Now, Sean, your point is they're trying to move you away from that older stuff, and I get that. So why not just chuck it in with this? So that you know that when you are buying the next expansion, you are completely up to date with the content for Destiny. Like that just... I thought they were leading to that with that speech that they did at the start of their stream saying, look, we want to, get everyone on the same footing. But then they went off on a bit of a weird direction with that thought during the stream, and I was kind of like, right, okay, I'm a little bit more confused now. So one thing that I did learn, I have downloaded Destiny and I've played it a little bit during the week. The one thing that I did learn that actually, if I did want to get completely up to date now before this new content goes up, they were selling the two recent expansions for like 27 quid. So I would be completely up to date because I own the first two expansions but didn't get the next two. So that would bring me completely up to date. I mean, I haven't done that, but then because I know that I'm not going to be playing it much this week. But
even if you did that wouldn't be so good because some of that stuff, presumably, it takes place on places that are going to be disappearing in September anyway.
Yeah, and it also means that although I've paid that 27 quid, I've got to then pay for the next expansion as well, which is coming out in a few months.
I think I think the stuff they're taking out, I don't think it relates to any of the last two expansions. I think it's only stuff from the original release. But yeah, I still understand the anxiety of it because, like, I'm not trying not to get into what we've been playing territory, but so Matt and I were talking a lot about this, and what's the best way of getting back in now? And we sort of realised, you can buy the current season pass, not to be confused with expansions. The current season, you can basically get it for about 8 or 9 quid, but then you could start playing the season stuff, and then it'd be like, right, your next objective is to complete this week's Nightfall. Oh shit, this week's Nightfall is from one of the previous expansions that you don't own. Sorry. Yeah. So the way it folds the old stuff back in could bite you in the arse if you just bought the current stuff. But then I guess that, part of the reason for this whole vaulting thing is to sort of address that, right? If they can just definitively go, well, that's just not even in the game for the next year, so don't worry about it. That might help.
Well, it does explain that, right? Like I get that, but it also asks more questions. It makes me ask more questions because I'm like, okay, so they're bringing back the Dreadnought from the first game, right? What do I need to buy to be able to play? The Cosmodrome from the first game. What do I need to buy to access that?
Yeah,
and then if I buy it, and it's then switched into the vault and replaced with something, is that going to be replaced with something that I need to make sure that I own as well.
Yeah, because they they've sort of, haven't they said that basically the rotation with the Vault stuff is going to be like, it's not going to be quick at all. It's going to be like every year, if that. So I don't think there's going to be an issue of like, fucking hell, I bought this last week and now you're saying I can't play it. But
no. My concern is that they switch it out with content from an expansion that I don't own.
Do you then need to buy the old expansion just to... Yeah, no, I see your point.
Yeah, so you'll be constantly chasing.
Yeah.
Oh no, you haven't bought that one, so buy that one now. I haven't bought the next one.
Yeah, like it's so frustrating because as a fan, I will just always buy the new stuff and have a great time. But as you say, if you're not like 100% all the way in, it's not clear on what's on the
back. If you dropped off like we have.
If you dropped off for a year or two, then how do you get back into it? And what are the risks involved in the content?
I mean, the other thing that doesn't help is the language around the expansions and season passes, and the fact that like, so you're like, so coming up soon, we've got this one expansion that's called Beyond Light, and then we've got The Witch Queen, and then we've got Lightfall. It's like, mate, you've just lost everyone. No one knows what any of this means. You don't have to give them names. Just say there's going to be a big expansion every year, and then seasons within that. That's it. You don't need, like, no one cares. Like, you watch, even I was watching that being like, hang on, so what's Lightfall? What's The Witch Queen? It's just weird.
Well, I mean, Destiny fans will know what all of this means, right? And that's cool. And it's cool that they're speaking to those people. I find it bizarre that they're not making more of an effort to try and get the people that dropped off within the first year back into the idea of playing Destiny again.
Well, I think they are with that cheaper pack. Like that one you mentioned, the £27 for both Shadowfall and Forsaken. That's called the upgrade pack. So they're obviously trying to say, well, if you fall
but that's already out of date within a couple of months.
It will be September, yeah.
So it's like it feels like they need to be clearer with their messaging. If they might not even want to be getting new people into Destiny. I find that very strange.
Oh, they must do, sure.
But maybe that's...
Yeah, I mean, they definitely will.
That's the look they're going for, maybe. But it feels like they could go, look, if you've not played Destiny for 2 years, this is what you need to buy to get up to date. Yeah. And when the new expansion comes out, this will be the price of making sure that there's no content locked off to you. And it
should just be you buy the most recent expansion and then you've got everything.
You've got everything, yeah. Or even if they just make all the old ones a $5 each or something, that would be something. But yeah, it's like you say, like yes, they often go on sale, but if you miss that and you're then expected to pay £25 just for something you might not touch,
Yeah, it's a weird one, isn't it?
And also, the season pass stuff is really confusing as well because it's like I've got back into it as well over the weekend, and I did this a while ago when I got back to it. When what was the one before Shadowfall? I forgot what it was.
Forsaken.
It was Forsaken. The one before that.
Yeah, that's it. Forsaken. I did that, and I caught up with all of that, and it was brilliant and everything. Then I didn't play it for about a year or whatever, and then I started playing this again recently, and I don't understand what the season pass is really for. I don't really understand if it's giving me more content or if it's just things like, like extra loot and stuff like that rather than actual missions and things.
It is, yeah. So it is new content. It's not so much... No, I'm going to get into what we've been playing territory. But yes, it is extra content, basically.
Right.
Well, I mean, I really hope that, and chances are they will be releasing a version of that game that is everything,
Yeah.
But I think that's less likely now because they want, as Sean said, to get to people not to play the old stuff. So I can see actually with this announcement, they're even less likely to do that.
I think it's the perception more than it is the thing. Yeah, they want you to play the old. They don't want you to play the older content. But saying this is the price to be fully up to date, you've got everything, that makes a lot of sense to me. But anyway, we're going over the same ground again.
I've also, just like all of us, I downloaded it and played it, and I just bought the pass. The good thing about the pass is that is cross-platform. So I bought an Xbox, and that works across all of them. You buy the expansions, and they are platform specific.
Yeah, so it's really frustrating
because Last of Us is coming out this week. I'm like, on the weekend I said to Sean, I've been playing it, I've been loving it, I'm just going to buy expansion. But I thought, actually, you know what? I'll just play the season pass for now, which I'm enjoying. And if I'm still want to get back to it after Last of Us, I'll buy them. But one thing though, like, why? I feel like they have to rename this game.
Yeah,
like just rename it Destiny.
Yeah, can they just call it Destiny now? Yeah,
like it just having like the whole like D1 D2. I get that to separate them, but like loads of D1 content is coming to just call it Destiny. Yeah. Like and. Just like there isn't a World of Warcraft 2, like the 2 just feels weird and
it's just unnecessary now, isn't it? I don't think anyone really says Destiny 2 anymore because it's redundant. I really thought
they were going to rename it in that talk, the way they were talking about the future and this and that. We're not going to do Destiny 3. I thought if they said we're dropping the 2, it's just Destiny. That would make total sense, and I wouldn't be surprised.
I wonder if it's an incredibly dumb legal thing because of the split with Activision and everything.
Maybe. I always loved the Destiny brand, but I was disappointed when they got Destiny 2. I'm like, no, keep it anyway.
Call it Desert.
That's what we used to call it.
Desto.
The other thing with it, just before we end with this, is that they also talked about like what was going to happen with upgrades for next generation and everything, and basically the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X will both get that like free. Like if you own it on PS4 or Xbox One, you get that.
It's the right decision to make.
They're both going to have like 4K 60 frames per second, so same as PC, I guess. But the best thing is also there's going to be intergenerational crossplay as well. So if you play it on PS5, you can play it with people on PS4, and the same for Series X and Xbox One. But they were also talking about they're hoping to do like all-encompassing crossplay in 2021. So if you're playing on PS4, you should be able to play with people on Xbox as well.
Fuck this! That would be amazing. That's an interesting point. We know that when the Series X comes out, you log onto your Series X, you can just jump into a party and the invites and all that sort of stuff.
We don't know anything about that with Sony, do we?
All the way back to the Xbox One. We don't know that about Sony yet. That is going to be...
Yeah.
That's going to be interesting to see if they do the similar thing. Especially with Destiny. If you upgrade to the PS5 version of Destiny, but you can't jump into party chat with people that play it on PS4, that's going to really fuck that, isn't it?
I can't see that they won't
for that
do
reason
that.
They will. Surely it'd be like it's just the PSN.
But it's not been like that at all in the past, is it?
Yeah, but the jump between PS3 and PS4 wasn't quite as developed as PSN is now. It will definitely be 100. It'll be like the same PSN IDs, same parties across different platforms. I guarantee that.
I hope so.
Madness otherwise.
Okay.
Right. Okay.
Next story is that we got a trailer for Star Wars Squadrons, which is coming in October this year.
Boy, did we.
Yeah.
Don't have to do much today to make a Star Wars game look good, do they? But Jesus, it did look good.
Some TIE fighters.
What was this about? You said something about it being a budget title or something.
Yeah, it's 30 quid.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah, $40 in the States, yeah. So
when's it out?
October.
And it looks like a... What? Do you reckon there's multiplayer involved? Is that...
I think so, yeah. There is. It says here, the game will feature thrilling 5 versus 5 multiplayer dogfights. And also fleet battles and all that kind of stuff as well.
So no single-player stuff?
No, there's also a single-player story as well.
Yeah.
And is there a co-op? I assume there's like a co-op thing involved?
I don't know. It doesn't say about that.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, it looks incredible.
Yeah.
So even though we didn't really see any
gameplay on, I think it's Thursday or Friday, EA Play.
Okay. Yeah, I'm up for that.
Can't wait.
And also,
the
most exciting thing for me for this was that it's coming to PSVR as well. Like the whole game is going to be playable in that. And the reason that's brilliant is, I mean, did you, Sean and Matt, did you play the Battlefront stuff?
I tried a demo, that was brilliant.
Because that was fantastic.
Yeah,
it was like, it's one of the best experiences I've had in VR. And if they can nail that would be so good. Like, if
James going to piss his pants.
Yeah, it's going to be perfect. It's, yeah. So that's
What's the general consensus about who's better to play games as, the bad guys or the good guys?
Depends on the game, doesn't it? Because it's
I'm talking about a flying game like this. Because the good guys have the better ships, don't they?
Not necessarily.
The enemy TIE fighters are class. I don't know.
Are they?
Yeah, I love
Depends on the model of TIE fighter.
Okay, next news story.
Yeah, no, next story, please.
So Lego have expanded their Super Mario range. So this was
have they?
Yeah,
fucking hell. Those pre-orders must have been through the roof.
Yeah. Well, now it's ballooned so that if you buy everything that comes at the start, it'll cost you about £600.
Yeah, I mean, I see. Yeah,
Jesus.
when I saw those power ups for £9 each,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
like,
well, no, it's
fucking
just a
hell.
suit, isn't it? Yeah, like the cat suit and insane.
Yeah, which is fine because it's kind of like that is maybe something you get once a month for the boy to build up on and stuff like that. But I mean, yeah, it's got to be expensive.
It's
going to be expensive.
They've got it starts with obviously you got the Mario starter course for £50, and then just like a whole ton of expansions of like different things, all of varying prices, going from like from £18 up to like £90 for Bowser's Castle. But then they're also doing those blind bags as well of like for stuff, which I mean they're £3.
No.
There's like 10 of those, £3.50 each. It's
Oh no, that's going to get me. I'm probably
Yep,
I'm
yep.
more likely to get them than like the full sets.
It is funny watching games
£3.50.
people go, Jesus Christ, they're so expensive, and you're like, yeah, no, that's Lego, mate. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, a lot of games people are into Lego, but I mean, I wasn't surprised when I saw the prices. It's I mean, you just
They're
have to
going
look
to killing,
at what
aren't they, with this? It's going to be insane.
Yeah, I mean, I think this was one of those situations where they had the designs and everything ready for this, but they floated the idea of and checked the pre-orders before they went ahead with. Maybe I'm wrong with that, but I've just got a feeling those pre-orders
You're
were
saying
very high.
why wouldn't they have announced this when they announced all of it?
Yeah,
Is that what you're questioning?
Yes.
Yeah,
and
it's weird.
they announced the fucking Mario thing ages ago, didn't they?
Yeah, it did, yeah.
Pre-orders went up for that ages ago. But it sold out really quickly, didn't it?
I did originally pre-order one set and I cancelled it because I thought.
Yeah, Harry's pre-ordered. He's getting his. So
Do you know, I think I pre-ordered it, but I can't remember.
I think you did because you told me you did at the time.
Okay. That'd be a nice surprise.
I can't remember if it was Amazon or Smiths or whatever.
Smiths,
but
yeah.
Harry just constantly goes, "When's that Mario thing coming that I paid for back in February, whatever it was?" Not till August. Lid.
Okay, next one is that Alex Kidd in Miracle World is getting a remake.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean,
Did not see this coming.
yeah, it's
Is that the one you completed, Matt?
it is.
Oh,
Yeah.
Who's doing the remake?
You know it, boy.
Oh, don't ask me questions like that. I've no idea. Come on, Sean. It's like
Right, that's
12:15.
fine. No, it's fine.
No, I've got.
It doesn't actually say in the piece on Eurogamer.
It doesn't. No, that's why I didn't put it in there. The one time.
Sorry,
It's
I
like-
wasn't trying to catch
coming
you
out
out. I was just genuinely
2021.
curious.
What's the quote, James?
There's no
Read the quote
quote.
out, please.
There's no quote. But
Okay.
it's an expanded remake, basically. I mean, I don't know. This is one of those games that I've got like fond memories of, even though it's not that great. Mostly because it was one of the first games I owned. So yeah, I'll be having a look at this.
Yeah, I'm interested. Yeah.
It looks like it's just a couple of indie devs. Like, as in literally two people. So there you go.
It's me and James. That's our project.
It's the big reveal.
We love the co-op so much. We're like, let's just.
What's your studio called, Matt?
Not now.
I asked the wrong person, didn't I? I should have gone for James.
No,
you know
it's
what he's
not
like.
now.
Okay.
Yeah, he did.
alright,
You
fine.
should have asked James. Yeah.
You know what James is like? He just pull it out of the hat every single time. James, what's your studio called, mate?
The syrup hand.
Brilliant. See, every time. Never fails.
See, they're never good, but I couldn't even do that. As I just,
Nor could I.
just couldn't.
The syrup hand.
I just couldn't do it.
I mean, that for me, I just think that James is looking around his garage. He's like, what have I got? Okay, so let's just do it.
Absolutely. That's absolutely.
Shelf,
I've got two
and
hands.
there's my hand. Let's go.
Go on, Syrup Hand Studios.
Next week it'll be
It's
like
you
a fleshlight car.
Sex pillow.
Get out.
Let's go.
There's a new Kingdom Hearts game coming. I mean,
Okay,
don't
right, why
care.
has this made the news?
because
Go
Matt
on.
told me about it, and I feel sad if I don't put Matt's suggestions
It's
in.
not
so
even a
it's
real
there.
one, is it? It's like a rhythm action thing.
Oh, I don't know.
It is,
It's
yeah.
called Melody of Memory, so maybe. I mean, great. HBO's Last of Us.
It's called Melody of Memories. It's called The Syrup Hand.
HBO's The Last of Us TV series has got a director now. But I mean, the good thing about this is it's Johan Rennick who did the Chernobyl.
Okay.
So that is not a bad thing.
The
And
Chernobyl.
also the what's it called, the showrunner is also did Chernobyl as well, so that's good.
Chernobyl.
Yeah.
All right,
excited.
cool. Yeah, I mean, this has been. I mean, no, actually, it hasn't been going on for ages, has it? The Last of Us.
No,
stuff?
that you're thinking of Uncharted.
Yeah.
Uncharted, don't I?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the one that's been dragging on. All right.
Like this. Also, Nintendo have surprise launched a free Switch skipping exercise game.
weird.
Yeah.
That was weird. Why did you go like this? What
I
was
missed that.
Like you
this
said, that's
podcast.
been going on for ages. And I said, yeah, like this has.
All right.
Oh right, I know, but you said it twice like that. Like this. And what was the next news story? I completely wasn't listening because the like this.
Okay, so Nintendo have surprise launched a free Switch skipping exercise game called Jump Rope Challenge.
Who's played this? I have.
I've not yet. No, it's good.
It's great
Cool.
fun. It's more of a game to it than 51 Worldwide Classic. No, I mean it's it's you just waggle your arms about and jump.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure you don't even need to jump, but I haven't tried it without that bit. And it keeps score, and you're supposed to do 100 a day. And it gives you can go over that. Harry did 1,000
Jesus.
skips.
What?
This today.
How long was he doing it for? 6 hours.
No, 4
He hasn't
minutes.
actually
and-
stopped.
Still doing it now.
I think it's five minutes,
going,
30
Harry.
seconds. And then, to be fair, like they've obviously thought with that because it will not count over 1,000.
Oh, really?
Like it just
You
you
broke
can
it
still
on day one.
skip, I guess, but yeah, it won't let you do any more.
Because
than
it's like, seriously, stop now.
Yeah.
Like, just stop.
yeah, but then it comes up like so you do your skipping and then it shows you that's day one, and then day two obviously it'll keep a record of how often you do it and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, for free. I mean, great. I love it when Nintendo just stick shit like this out. It's great.
It's a time limited release though. It'll be there until September apparently, and then it'll be
I'm
gone.
gonna download
weird.
it. It'd be fun.
Odd.
Just stick it
Yeah,
up there.
so if you're
What-
giving it
why
away
are they
for free,
timing it
why?
like
I have no
that?
idea.
Yeah, whatever. Everyone who
Bizarre.
gets a Switch for Christmas who's heard about this great free skipping game, like,
Fucking hell, Nintendo, honestly, it's unbelievable, isn't it? Nintendo have done this great thing, but they've also...
only for a little bit.
there
yeah.
are. There's small towns. Why are we taking it down? Just fucking... That's why. How about that? We're
They're going to take it
Nintendo.
down so they can make a massive franchise out of it.
Probably, yeah.
We're going to
Bump
get a
choke.
sequel to the skipping
Yeah,
game.
Jump Rope Challenge X.
Gotcha. It's never. Why did I say that? It's definitely we're going mad. It's 20 past 12. It's definitely worth downloading, is what I'm saying. Just it's free and it's quite fun, and we had some fun with that today. So good. Yep. Next.
Okay, there's two stories left, but I'm going to just choose one
Two
of them.
door stories.
It's
Two door
there's
them.
one. I mean, they're both.
No. You can't do that. Can you?
They're both Stadia stories.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Drop them both,
Superb.
if anything.
So, I mean, the big news, which Matt alerted me to, and I genuinely thanks Matt because I would have missed this, and it's brilliant. Google is cutting the price of its Stadia Premier Starter Pack from $129 to like $100 basically, and so that's great. But then what they're doing, which is a bit rubbish, is one of the plus points if you can call it a plus point of buying Stadia, is that when you bought it, you get like a 3-month Stadia Pro trial for it. You won't get that anymore. Now it'll just be like a 1-month trial, and that's it.
Brilliant.
And then you're done.
So they're taking £30 off the price, and they're taking £30 of stuff out of the box.
Yeah.
So it's not really even a price. It's just like
Not really, no.
next week. I say Stadia for £7. There's no controller, and there's no Chromecast.
Control. They're all optional extras. You know,
One
it's
day it'll just
uh,
be Stadia's free, but you don't get anything. Just go all the way.
Yeah. Stadia's free. Here's a link to Chrome.
Poor Stadia.
Yeah,
That is
everyone-
James?
that's pretty much. I mean, there was another. I mean, they also leaked a playable version of a Ubisoft game as well by accident that people played for 30 minutes. But apart from that, that was it.
Oh, really? People actually played it?
Yeah.
Is this
What was it? What game?
Oh, Gods and Monsters. This
Gods
looked really
and
good.
Monsters. It's the
This
one
is
that
Gods
looks
and
good.
Monsters, yeah. So it was available to play. It was an unfinished demo version of the game. And the best bit, though, was because Ubisoft confirmed that this had happened and it was actually a year-old version of the game, like a demo version of it. Then, I mean, Google responded
did
by
say-
saying... Regretfully, on Thursday morning, we mistakenly made an E3 demo version of Gods and Monsters from Ubisoft available on the Stadia store that was not intended for the public to play. A few hundred gamers were able to play it for less than 30 minutes. We sincerely apologise to our partners at Ubisoft for this mistake.
Yeah, I bet you do.
Hold on.
Fucking hell.
Is this a publicity stunt?
It could be. Yeah,
I mean, it's the
that's
first I've heard
great.
about it, so it's not a very good one.
This is a publicity stunt. It is, surely. Why would they have a version of that game? How would they upload it? And
Yeah, why would it even be available for them to put
in their
up,
possession?
Like,
Yeah.
that is weird, isn't it?
It gets the name of the game out.
Well, no, that's the
It
weird
sounds
thing,
like-
because apparently it's not going to be called Gods and Monsters anyway. They're renaming it.
Oh, really?
So, I don't know how that
But
works.
we wouldn't even be talking about it if it wasn't for this.
True, yeah. Oh, I've been cheated. Google have cheated me.
They've done you, mate.
Yeah.
They have totally done you there.
Falling right into a trap.
Yeah, someone in the office now is going, "We got James
Got him.
talking about it."
Lying.
I've been
We're slagging
screwed.
ourselves, now we got him back.
You got screwgled. Who said that? Was that you, James?
Yes.
Very well done. You're on fire tonight. You have to. We're going to have to record later, I think.
No,
Going
please.
forward.
That's the point.
Because
Yeah, James, you're
James is on form.
doing incredibly well. Nearly half past
what's
midnight.
happened?
Usually by now, you're silent.
Yeah, that's why he doesn't swear.
So that's it for the news, and that's probably it for the show. You've had enough of us this week. We will, for everyone that emailed in their questions, tweeted in their questions, we will keep them on the Google Doc, and I mean, not necessarily read them out next week. If someone comes up with a better question, you might get bumped off the list. All right, don't have a go at us. Have a go at the person that come out with a better question.
Or have a go at yourself.
or have a go at
for
yourself.
not asking a better question to begin with.
High five, Sean. We got him.
Yeah, go fuck. Have a go at Kane and Rinse while you're at it.
Yeah.
Why not? Yeah. Right. So, Matt, do you want to do your socials business?
Friday night at 9, James is streaming Dreams. Still enjoying Dreams, aren't you, James?
Yeah.
Brilliant. That's Friday night at 9. On Sunday night, I have now finished Resident Evil 3. I'll maybe talk about it next week. So I'm doing a new game. There's a lot of discussion on the streams. I didn't really know, but I've chosen a game. And from Sunday night, 8 o'clock, I am going to be streaming Hitman 2.
Mate.
Never played a Hitman game before. The sequel was really cheap, so I bought that rather than the 2016 version. So Hitman 2, that's Sunday night, 8 o'clock. I don't know what to really think about that, but I'm sure it'll be fun. And then Tuesday, Sean, are you streaming as Saboteur, or have you kicked it to the curb?
Probably not, because this week there's the Steam Summer of whatever they call it. I can't remember, but basically there's loads of demos out for interesting games. So I might just do... So definitely on Tuesday. And then maybe prior to that, like maybe over the weekend, I'll try and do one night where I stream a bunch of stuff as well. So yeah, just be a couple of variety streams of stuff from that selection, I think.
Nice. They're all on twitch.tv/TCGSco. If you've got Amazon Prime, you've got Twitch Prime, please go over to our channel and give us your free monthly sub. We massively appreciate it. Patreon.com/TCGS for exclusive stuff and to support us. The bonus show will be out in the next week or so, and we've got a live talks over. It will definitely be next week. We haven't quite nailed down the day, but if you're a Patreon, you'll get an email about what day, but it'll be sometime in the middle of next week. We're going to do a live talks over, and it's tcgs.co for everything else. There's a store on there as well. You can buy lovely TCGS merch. That's it.
Yeah, thanks for living it. We'll see you next week. But if you're listening to this bit right now, please send Matt a little tweet saying thanks so much for editing this week's podcast. It's over 3 hours long, and it's going live in around 5 hours. So,
4.5 hours this thing will be live.
cheers, Matt.
It's going to be fun, isn't it?
Thank you for your efforts this week. And thanks to everyone for living it and listening. So we'll catch you next week. Goodbye, everyone.
Ta-ra.
Goodbye.
Bug snacks.
Can't stop thinking about bug snacks.